Standing in Terminal C at Denver International Airport, I stared at the crumpled note in my hand while 6-year-old Madison tugged at my sundress. "Babysitter, you'll have fun together." My sister Lauren's handwriting mocked me. My entire family had just boarded their flight to Hawaii, leaving me with my niece and a canceled ticket. 3 years of saving for this vacation gone. But as Madison asked where Mommy went, I made a decision that would change everything. I pulled out my phone and dialed Lauren's ex-husband. The morning had started with such promise. I'd been awake since 4, double-checking my luggage and reviewing my carefully planned itinerary for 10 days in paradise. 3 years of overtime shifts, skipped dinners out, and every spare penny saved had led to this moment. I could practically feel the warm Hawaiian sand between my toes as I drove to my parents' house for our traditional pre-vacation breakfast. The 2-story colonial home buzzed with excitement when I arrived at 6:30. My mother, Patricia, flipped pancakes while my father, Earl, loaded suitcases into their SUV. My younger brother, Jake, wrestled with his twin boys, while his wife, Amy, corralled their chaos. Even cousin Brittany had driven down from Fort Collins to see us off. "Rachel's here," Mom announced, though her smile seemed tighter than usual. "We were starting to worry you'd be late." "My flight doesn't leave until 11:15, I said, setting my carry-on by the door. "Same as everyone else's." The kitchen fell oddly quiet before Jake cleared his throat. "Actually, we managed to get on an earlier flight. Lauren found a deal for the 9:20 departure." A knot formed in my stomach. When did this happen? Why didn't anyone tell me? "Oh, honey, we tried calling." Mom said, though I'd checked my phone obsessively and seen nothing. "But don't worry, Lauren worked everything out. She'll explain at the airport." Lauren burst through the door at 7:45, 20 minutes after we were supposed to leave. My older sister looked frazzled, her usually perfect blonde hair pulled into a messy bun. Madison trailed behind her, clutching a purple backpack. "Traffic was insane," Lauren panted, though Saturday morning traffic from Westminster was never bad. "Rachel, thank God you're here. I need a huge favor." My stomach tightened. Lauren's favors always came with hidden costs. "Madison's been having anxiety about flying." She continued, kneeling beside her daughter. "Would you mind helping me with her at the airport, just keeping her calm during check-in?" I looked at my niece's tear-stained face and felt my heart soften. Despite everything, I loved Madison fiercely. Of course. The drive to Denver International Airport took 45 minutes in our convoy of vehicles. I rode with Lauren and Madison, listening to my sister complain about Ryan, her ex-husband. According to her, he'd been making custody difficult lately, showing up late for pickups and filling Madison's head with confusing ideas. He even tried to claim I'm not providing stable care, Lauren scoffed, merging onto Interstate 70. Can you believe that after everything I do for Madison? In the back seat, Madison played quietly with her tablet, occasionally sniffling. Something felt off about the whole morning, but I pushed the feeling aside. Family vacations always came with drama. At the airport, chaos erupted immediately. Lauren fumbled with her phone at the check-in kiosk, cursing under her breath. Mom and Dad checked in smoothly at the next kiosk, their boarding passes printing without issue. Jake and Amy wrangled their boys through the process while Lauren grew increasingly agitated. "Here," she said, thrusting Madison's hand into mine. "Watch her for a second while I figure this out." I knelt beside my niece, helping her color in a princess coloring book from her backpack, while Lauren spoke rapidly with the airline agent. 10 minutes passed, then 15. Other families checked in around us, the line growing longer. "Lauren, we need to get through security," Dad called out. "It's already 8:30. "Just go ahead," Lauren waved them off. "We'll catch up." My family hesitated before Mom suggested, "Rachel, why don't you wait with Madison by our gate while we grab coffee? Lauren can meet you there once she sorts this out." It seemed reasonable enough. I gathered Madison's backpack and my carry-on, leading her towards security. The TSA line moved slowly, packed with summer travelers. Madison clung to my hand, her small fingers trembling. "Aunt Rachel, where's Mommy going?" she asked as we removed our shoes. "She's just fixing the tickets, sweetie. We'll see her at the gate." Security took another 20 minutes. By the time we reached Gate B42, my phone showed 9:05. The gate area was packed, but I didn't see my family anywhere. I sent a text to the group chat, "At the gate. Where is everyone?" No response. 9:10 arrived with the first boarding announcement. My stomach churned as I scanned the crowd. Madison tugged on my sundress, asking for water. I bought her a bottle from the nearest shop, my hands shaking as I paid. 9:15, priority boarding began. My phone remained silent. At 9:20, general boarding started. Panic clawed at my throat as I approached the gate agent. "Excuse me," I said, Madison pressed against my leg. "I'm supposed to be on this flight, but I can't find my family. Rachel Thompson." The agent typed rapidly before frowning. "I show your ticket was canceled 30 minutes ago." The world tilted. "That's impossible. Check again." More typing. A sympathetic look. "I'm sorry, ma'am. The cancellation was processed at 8:42 at the check-in counter. You received a credit for future travel." But I didn't. I was in security. Madison started crying as the final boarding call echoed through the terminal. I watched the gate close, my dreams of Hawaii dissolving. That's when I noticed something sticking out of Madison's backpack. A white envelope with my name. Inside, Lauren's familiar handwriting sprawled across notebook paper. "Rachel." Something came up with Madison's tickets. "She can't fly today. Babysitter, you'll have fun together. We'll work out the details when we get back. Thanks for understanding. Lauren." Tucked behind the note were $200 bills. My legs gave out. I sank into a plastic chair, Madison climbing into my lap as she sensed my distress. My family had left me. Deliberately. The security footage I'd later obtained through the police investigation would show the truth in devastating clarity. Lauren approaching the check-in counter at 8:35, speaking intently with the agent while gesturing at her phone. The agent typing rapidly, nodding. Lauren smiling, actually smiling as my dreams evaporated into system codes and cancellation fees. She'd specifically requested my ticket be canceled while I was distracted with Madison in the security line, knowing I'd be none the wiser until it was too late. Madison's tears soaked through my sundress as I sat frozen in that plastic airport chair, the boarding gate now sealed like a tomb containing my buried vacation dreams. My hands shook as I pulled out my phone, scrolling through my contacts with blurred vision. Lauren's number went straight to voicemail. She'd already turned on airplane mode. Mom, Dad, Jake, all unreachable. "Aunt Rachel, I'm scared." Madison whimpered against my shoulder. "Where did everybody go?" That's when clarity struck like lightning. They'd all known. Every last one of them had boarded that plane knowing Madison and I were being left behind. The edited flight time, Lauren's convenient delay, Mom's suggestion to wait at the gate. A choreographed betrayal. I looked down at the little girl in my arms, her hazel eyes so much like her father's, and made a decision that would unravel everything Lauren had built on lies. Ryan answered on the second ring. "Rachel." His voice carried surprise. Lauren had made sure her family rarely spoke to him. "Is everything okay? Is Madison all right?" "Ryan," my voice cracked. "I'm at the airport with Madison. Lauren and my entire family just flew to Hawaii without us. She canceled my ticket and left me a note telling me to babysit." Silence stretched across the line. I could hear his breathing quicken, the sound of keys jingling. "Send me your exact location. I'm leaving Boulder now." "Ryan, I don't know what to do. She left $200 like that's supposed to cover." "Terminal C, you said I'll be there in 40 minutes. Don't move. And Rachel, thank you for calling me." While we waited, I bought Madison a breakfast sandwich from the coffee shop, watching her nibble the edges, while her eyes darted around the crowded terminal. Business people rushed past families headed to their own adventures, the world spinning on while we sat abandoned like lost luggage. "Daddy doesn't like airplanes," Madison said suddenly. "Mommy said he's scared of them." Another lie. Ryan was a pilot instructor at Rocky Mountain Flight School. The deceptions ran so deep I wondered what truth looked like anymore. 37 minutes later, Ryan appeared through the sliding doors, still wearing his Saturday morning jeans and Colorado Rockies t-shirt. Madison launched herself from the chair, sprinting across the polished floor. "Daddy, Daddy, you came." He swept her into his arms, his jaw tight as he took in the scene. My tear-stained face, the crumpled note I still clutched, Madison's purple backpack with its dangling princess keychains. "Hey, Pumpkin," he murmured into Madison's hair. "I missed you so much." Ryan Torres had aged well in the 2 years since the divorce. At 36, he still had the athletic build from his Air Force days, though gray now threaded through his black hair. Lauren had painted him as unstable, irresponsible, a weekend dad who couldn't handle real parenting. Looking at how Madison melted into his embrace, I wondered how I'd believed such obvious poison. "Let's find somewhere quiet to talk," he suggested, shifting Madison to his hip. We found a corner table at an overpriced restaurant, Madison coloring with crayons while Ryan read the note. His expression darkened with each word. "She planned this," he said quietly. "This wasn't spontaneous." "What do you mean?" He pulled out his phone, scrolling through messages. "Last month, I petitioned for increased custody. My lawyer said we had a strong case. I've documented every missed handoff, every time she's left Madison with random sitters instead of calling me." He turned the screen toward me. This was her response 3 weeks ago. The text from Lauren read, "You'll regret trying to take her from me. I'll make sure you never see her." "But she just left her with me," I said, confusion warring with anger. "No," Ryan corrected gently. "She left her with someone she thought would never call me, someone she's trained for years to see me as the enemy." The truth of it hit like a physical blow. Every family dinner where Lauren had cried about Ryan's failures, every story about his supposed volatility, every time Mom had clutched her pearls saying Madison was better off without such an influence, all of it carefully crafted to ensure that in a moment like this, I'd never dream of calling him. "God, I'm such an idiot," I whispered. "You're not," Ryan said firmly. "You're a good aunt who loves Madison. That's why you called me instead of just going along with it." Madison looked up from her coloring. "Are you sad, Aunt Rachel?" "A little bit, sweetie." "Mommy makes me sad sometimes, too," she said matter-of-factly, returning to her crayon work. "Like when she leaves me at Miss Jennifer's house all weekend." Ryan and I exchanged glances. "Who's Miss Jennifer?" I asked carefully. "Mommy's friend from the salon. I don't like staying there. Her house smells funny and she forgets to make dinner." Ryan's hand clenched around his coffee cup. "How often do you stay with Miss Jennifer?" Madison counted on her fingers. "Last weekend, and the weekend before, and before that." She trailed off, focused on coloring within the lines. "I've been documenting everything," Ryan said quietly, his voice controlled fury. "Every time I've come for my custody weekend and she's not there, every excuse, every lie. But this," he gestured at the note, "this is abandonment." "She'll say I agreed to it," I realized. "That's why the note thanks me for understanding. She's creating a paper trail. Except she didn't count on you calling me." Ryan pulled out his phone again, and she really didn't count on this. He showed me a text conversation from 3 weeks ago. Lauren writing to someone named Derek. "Rachel's so desperate for family approval she'll never call Ryan. She'll watch M for the whole week and thank me for the opportunity, LOL." My blood turned to ice. Who's Derek? Her boyfriend. He's on the Hawaii trip. Ryan's smile held no humor. He's also been forwarding me screenshots for the past month. Turns out he's not comfortable with how she treats Madison. "Wait, he's helping you." "Started after Madison told him she wished she could live with Daddy all the time. Opened his eyes, apparently." Ryan saved the screenshot. "My lawyer's gonna have a field day with this." Madison tugged on Ryan's sleeve. "Daddy, can I come to your house today?" "Actually, Pumpkin, I think you're going to stay with me for a while. Would you like that?" Her face lit up like Christmas morning. "Really? Not just Saturday and Sunday?" "Really." "What about Mommy?" Ryan chose his words carefully. "Mommy went on a trip, remember? She asked Aunt Rachel to take care of you, and Aunt Rachel called me to help." "Oh," Madison considered this. "That's good. You make better pancakes." I watched this interaction with growing realization. Madison wasn't devastated by her mother's absence. She wasn't even surprised. This 6-year-old had already learned not to count on Lauren. "We should file a report," Ryan said, his voice steady but determined. "Airport police, CPS, everyone. This needs to be documented officially." "Ryan, my family will never forgive me." "Rachel." He reached across the table, briefly touching my hand. "Your family left you in an airport with a 6-year-old and $200. They canceled your dream vacation and laughed about it in writing. What exactly are you trying to preserve?" Madison piped up. "Mommy said Aunt Rachel doesn't have a boyfriend because she's too boring. But I don't think you're boring. You read all the voices when we do stories." Ryan's expression darkened further. "She says things like that in front of you." "Mommy says lots of things." Madison shrugged, returning to her coloring. "Grandma Patricia says them too. They laugh a lot." Each word from Madison's innocent mouth painted a clearer picture of the toxic dynamics I'd been swimming in for 32 years. The casual cruelty, the coordinated meanness, the way they'd made me grateful for crumbs of approval while feeding Madison the same poison about her father. "I'll call my lawyer," Ryan decided. "He can meet us here. We need to move fast before they land and start controlling the narrative." As he made phone calls, I helped Madison pack up her crayons. In her backpack, I found more evidence of neglect. A change of clothes that didn't fit snacks long past expiration, and at the very bottom, a photo of her and Ryan that had been crumpled, then smoothed out. "I hide that," Madison whispered. "Mommy doesn't like when I look at pictures of Daddy." My heart shattered completely. This little girl had been living in emotional warfare, and we'd all been too blinded by Lauren's manipulations to see it. Ryan finished his calls and turned back to us. "My lawyer will be here in 20 minutes. He's bringing a colleague who specializes in emergency custody." He paused, studying my face. "Are you okay?" "No," I admitted, "but I think I'm finally seeing clearly." Madison reached for my hand with her small fingers. "It's okay, Aunt Rachel. Sometimes Mommy makes everybody sad, but Daddy says tomorrow can be better." Ryan's eyes glistened. "That's right, Pumpkin. Tomorrow can always be better." As we waited for the lawyer, Madison curled up in Ryan's lap, finally safe with the parent who'd never abandoned her in an airport. I thought about my family, probably sipping champagne at 30,000 feet, toasting their clever manipulation. They'd left me behind, but in doing so, they'd given me something worth more than any vacation, the chance to finally do right by Madison. And when Lauren returned, she'd find that her carefully constructed house of lies had crumbled in her absence. Her ex-husband, the one she'd painted as a monster, was the only parent who'd shown up when their daughter needed him. And I'd been the one to call him. Desperation for family approval, not anymore. Some bridges were meant to burn, and I was ready to light the match. Ryan's lawyer arrived exactly 19 minutes later, striding through the airport restaurant with the confidence of someone who'd handled emergencies before. Marcus Chen, tall, impeccably dressed despite the Saturday morning rush, carrying a leather briefcase that probably cost more than my canceled vacation. "This is Marcus," Ryan introduced, "best family lawyer in Colorado." "Second best," Marcus corrected with a sharp smile. "But Diane Winters doesn't work weekends." He pulled out a legal pad, all business. "Tell me everything. Don't leave out a single detail." As I recounted the morning's events, Marcus took rapid notes. His expression grew increasingly grim when I showed him the note that cached the text screenshot from Derek. Madison had fallen asleep in Ryan's arms, exhausted from the emotional morning. "This is good," Marcus said, which seemed like an odd response to abandonment. "I mean, legally speaking, clear evidence, multiple witnesses, documentation." He pulled out his phone. "We need airport police here now. This needs an official report with a timestamp." "Is that really necessary?" I asked, my ingrained family loyalty still fighting against logic. "Your sister committed custodial interference at minimum, possibly fraud if she used your credit information for that ticket, and definitely child abandonment," Marcus listed. "So yes, it's necessary." 2 airport police officers arrived within minutes. Officer Sarah Martinez, a woman about my age with kind eyes, took Madison to a quiet play area nearby with a female social worker while we gave our statements. Officer James Williams, her partner, asked precise questions that made the reality unavoidable. "Ma'am, to be clear," he said, "your sister left her minor child with you without prior arrangement, canceled your flight without permission, and left the state." "Yes," I whispered. "And this was premeditated based on these text messages?" "It appears so." Ryan provided his own statement about the ongoing custody battle, the documentation of Lauren's pattern of leaving Madison with inappropriate caregivers. The officers exchanged meaningful looks. "We'll need to contact CPS," Officer Martinez said when she returned. "This falls under mandatory reporting." My stomach dropped. "CPS, but I don't want Madison in foster care." "That's not going to happen," Marcus interjected smoothly. "Mr. Torres is the biological father with existing custody rights. If anything, this strengthens his position for emergency custody." The next 2 hours blurred together. The CPS worker, a soft-spoken woman named Grace Holloway, arrived with a thick folder and gentle demeanor. She interviewed Madison separately using dolls and drawings to make it less scary. Ryan paced the corridor like a caged lion while I sat frozen, wondering how a vacation had turned into a crime scene. "Miss Thompson," Grace said when she emerged, "Madison's disclosed some concerning information. This isn't the first time she's been left with caregivers without her father's knowledge." "What did she say?" Ryan asked urgently. Grace consulted her notes. "She mentioned a Miss Jennifer, someone named Carol from the grocery store, a neighbor she calls Mrs. Pat, and—" She paused. "Apparently she spent 2 nights alone in the apartment while her mother was in Vail." "Alone?" I gasped. "She's 6. Madison said she knew how to call 911 if she needed help," Grace continued. "Your sister apparently told her it was a big girl adventure." Ryan's fist clenched. Marcus placed a restraining hand on his shoulder. "She also mentioned," Grace added carefully, "that Grandma Patricia told her not to tell Daddy about the adventures because he'd ruin Mommy's fun." My mother, my own mother, coaching a child to hide neglect. The betrayal carved deeper. Marcus stepped into legal mode. "We need emergency custody orders immediately. I can have the petition drafted within the hour." "On a Saturday?" I asked. "I have a judge who owes me a favor," Marcus said simply. "Child endangerment doesn't wait for business hours." While Marcus made calls and typed furiously on his laptop, Officer Williams pulled me aside. "Ma'am, I need to ask about this." He showed me my original booking confirmation on his tablet. "The credit card used for your ticket. Is this yours?" I looked at the number. "Yes, that's my card." "But you didn't authorize the booking." Lauren said she was getting a group rate. I gave her my card information last month for that purpose." "And did you authorize her to cancel the ticket and receive the refund?" The pieces clicked. No, I didn't. "The refund was processed to a different account." He showed me another screen. "Not the original payment method. That's wire fraud." "I don't want to press charges." I started automatically. "Ma'am," Officer Martinez interrupted gently. "Your sister stole from you, abandoned her child, and orchestrated a deliberate scheme to ruin your vacation while endangering a minor. Maybe it's time to stop protecting her." Madison had woken up and was coloring with Grace at a nearby table. She looked so small, so vulnerable. How many times had she been passed around like an inconvenient package? "You're right," I said quietly. "I want to document everything." The fraud unit arrived next. Detective Robert Clark looked like he'd rather be anywhere else on a Saturday morning until he saw the evidence. Then his eyes sharpened like a hunting dog catching a scent. "This is organized," he muttered, scrolling through the documentation. "The timeline, the coordination with your family, the financial manipulation. Your sister's quite the schemer." "She's always been clever," I admitted. "There's a difference between clever and criminal," Detective Clark said. "This crossed that line about 3 felonies ago." Marcus reappeared triumphant. "Judge Harrison will see us in an hour. Emergency custody hearing." He turned to me. You'll need to testify. Me, but I'm not. You're the witness to the abandonment, the victim of the fraud, and based on what Madison's been saying, one of the only family members who actually cares about her welfare. Ryan had been quiet through much of this, holding Madison while she dozed. Now he spoke up. Rachel, I know this is overwhelming. Your family left me, I finished. They left me here like I was nothing. Left Madison like she was luggage. I met his eyes. I'll testify. The trip to the courthouse felt surreal. Madison chatted about her stuffed animals at Daddy's house, oblivious to the legal machinery spinning around her. The emergency hearing convened in a small chamber, Judge Harrison presiding with silver hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Marcus presented the case with surgical precision. The abandonment, the pattern of neglect, the fraud, the coaching to lie. When I took the stand, my voice shook but didn't break. She planned this, I testified. The text messages prove it. She used my trust, my love for Madison, and my desire for family harmony to commit multiple crimes. And where is your sister now? Judge Harrison asked. Flying to Hawaii with my parents, brother, and extended family. Who all knew about this plan? I thought about Brittany's comments about a dinner I wasn't invited to. I believe they all did, Your Honor. Lauren's attempts to call in for the hearing failed. Apparently, airplane Wi-Fi wasn't sufficient for legal proceedings. Her lawyer, hired hastily through a referral, seemed out of his depth. My client intended for Ms. Thompson to provide childcare, he argued weakly. By canceling her vacation without consent, by committing fraud, Judge Harrison's voice could have frozen lava. I've seen some audacious schemes in family court counselor, but this takes the cake. The ruling was swift and decisive. Emergency temporary custody to Ryan. Orders for Lauren to appear within 72 hours of return. CPS to conduct full investigation. Criminal charges to be pursued at the prosecutor's discretion. Mr. Torres, Judge Harrison addressed Ryan directly. This child has been failed by many adults. Don't be another one. Never, Your Honor. As we left the courthouse, Madison, holding Ryan's hand and clutching my fingers with her other, Marcus pulled me aside. The fraud charges are serious. If convicted, your sister's looking at jail time. Good, I said, surprising myself with the vehemence. Maybe she'll have time to think about what she's done to her daughter. And your family? I thought about them, probably May-Tai deep by now, congratulating themselves on their clever manipulation. They made their choice. They chose cruelty. I'm choosing Madison. Detective Clark caught up with us at the courthouse steps. Miss Thompson, I've been investigating further. The ticket refund. It went to an account that's been receiving Madison's child support payments. But here's the interesting part. There are large cash withdrawals every month that don't match any childcare expenses we can find. What are you saying? I'm saying your sister's been using her daughter as a revenue stream while neglecting her actual care. That's benefit fraud on top of everything else. Madison tugged on my dress. Aunt Rachel, can we go to Daddy's house now? I'm tired of this venture. Adventure. She meant adventure. But venture fit too. This whole thing was a venture into territory I'd never imagined exploring. The good daughter, the accommodating sister, the pushover aunt. Those roles were as canceled as my flight to Hawaii. Yes, sweetheart, I said, smoothing her hair. Let's get you home. Ryan mouthed thank you over Madison's head, but I was the one who should be grateful. In trying to use me, Lauren had accidentally freed me from toxic obligations, from false family loyalty, from 32 years of accepting crumbs and calling it love. My phone buzzed with notifications I ignored. Let them land in Los Angeles for their layover. Let them find out their scheme had backfired spectacularly. I had more important things to do, like making sure a 6-year-old girl knew she was worth more than a $200 inconvenience. The fraud charges were just the beginning. Lauren had built a house of cards on her daughter's welfare, and I was about to help bring it all tumbling down. The first message hit my phone at 12:47 p.m. Mountain Time, just as Ryan was buckling Madison into her car seat outside the courthouse. Lauren's name blazed across the screen in our family group chat. "Where is Madison?" I watched the typing indicators dance as multiple family members started and stopped messages. My phone vibrated continuously, a swarm of digital panic invading my palm. "Mom, Rachel, what's going on? Lauren says you're not answering." "Dad, pick up your phone. This is serious." "Jake, what do you mean you can't find them?" "Lauren, she's not at the gate. Security says they never boarded. Rachel, answer me now." I screenshot everything before typing my response. "Madison is safe with her father. You abandoned her at the airport. The police and CPS have been notified." The chat exploded. Lauren sent 17 messages in rapid succession, each more unhinged than the last. Accusations flew like shrapnel. I was jealous, vindictive, trying to ruin her life, didn't understand the situation, was too stupid to follow simple instructions. "Let me see," Ryan said quietly, having settled Madison with her tablet in the back seat. His expression darkened as he read. "She's panicking. Good." Mom's call came through immediately. I let it ring 3 times before answering on speaker so Ryan could witness. "Rachel Marie Thompson." Her voice shook with rage. "How could you involve outsiders? This is a family matter." "You left me at an airport with a 6-year-old and a canceled ticket," I said calmly. "You made it a police matter." "We didn't. That's not." "Lauren said you agreed to watch Madison." "Did she also tell you she used my credit card without permission, that she committed fraud, that she's been collecting child support while dumping Madison with strangers?" Silence, then quieter. "You're overreacting. You always were too sensitive." "Sensitive?" My voice cracked. "You stole my vacation. You conspired to abandon a child, and you're calling me sensitive." Dad's voice joined the call. "Princess, let's be reasonable. We can work this out when we get back. Just tell the police it was a misunderstanding." "It wasn't a misunderstanding, Dad. It was a crime. Multiple crimes, actually." "You're destroying this family!" Mom shrieked. "No," I said firmly. "You did that when you chose Lauren's scheme over basic human decency." I hung up and immediately received a private message from Jake. "Amy and I genuinely thought you knew. Lauren said you volunteered." I responded, "When have I ever volunteered to miss a $3,000 vacation?" Jake, fair point. Amy's been crying since we found out. We should have said something. Another private message popped up, this one from cousin Brittany. "Check your email now." I opened my email to find an audio file from Brittany. Ryan leaned in as I played it through my earbuds, his expression growing stonier with each word. The recording was from the pre-trip dinner I hadn't been invited to. Lauren's voice rang clear. "Rachel's so pathetic she'll do anything for family approval. Watch this. I'll stick her with Madison and she'll probably thank me for the bonding time." My mother's laughter chimed in. "She does need to learn her place. Ever since that promotion, she acts like she's better than us." "She makes more money than me now," Lauren continued. "It's embarrassing. At least this will remind her that family comes first." "Especially since she can't find a man," someone else added, Aunt Helen, I thought. "Maybe babysitting will trigger those maternal instincts." The conversation continued, each comment a dagger. They'd discussed my weight, my career, my apartment, my dating life. They'd planned the airport abandonment down to the minute, laughing about how I'd probably cry but comply. But the worst part came near the end. Madison's small voice. "Is Aunt Rachel coming to dinner?" "No, sweetie," Lauren replied. "Aunt Rachel's too busy being important at her job. She doesn't have time for family anymore." "But I like Aunt Rachel." "Well, she doesn't like children very much. That's why she doesn't have any." My hands shook. Ryan gently took the phone, saving the recording. "My God," he breathed. "She's poisoning Madison against you, too." Brittany's text followed. "I'm so sorry I didn't warn you. I thought about it, but Mom said I was being dramatic. I've been recording things since Christmas when they made you cry over the gift exchange. I have more if you need it." I called her immediately. Why was all I managed? Because it's wrong, Brittany said simply. The way they treat you, it's abusive. I've watched it for years, but I was too young to do anything before. I'm 22 now, old enough to know better. They'll crucify you for this. Let them try. I'm moving to Portland next month anyway. Distance makes the heart grow fonder and the toxic family bearable. The group chat continued its meltdown. Lauren had started a video call that showed her red-faced in what looked like an airport bar. Mom clutched Dad's arm, mascara streaming. Jake looked miserable while Amy held their boys away from the chaos. "Answer your phone!" Lauren screamed into the camera. "This is kidnapping. I'll have you arrested." Marcus had warned me not to engage directly, so I didn't. Instead, I posted once more. All communication regarding Madison should go through Ryan's lawyer, Marcus Chen. I included Marcus's office number and left the chat. My phone immediately exploded with individual calls and texts. I blocked Lauren first, then Mom, when her voicemails became increasingly abusive. Dad's sad attempts at manipulation got him blocked too. Jake. I left unblocked, and his next message surprised me. "Amy's pregnant again. We didn't want to announce it like this, but we don't want our kids growing up in this toxicity. Lauren's lost it, Mom's enabling, and Dad just goes along. Maybe you have the right idea." "It's not too late to do the right thing," I replied. "Amy's looking up flights home. We can't afford to lose the return ticket, but we're done with this vacation." Meanwhile, Ryan had been fielding his own bombardment. Derek, Lauren's boyfriend, had started texting him directly. "This is worse than I thought," Derek's message read. "She's been drinking since we boarded. Your lawyer needs to know she's talking about taking Madison and disappearing when she gets back." Ryan immediately forwarded everything to Marcus. "Can you meet us at my house?" he asked Derek. "And bring any evidence you have." "Already booked a return flight. Landing at 8 p.m. I've been documenting her behavior for weeks originally for my own protection. She's not stable, man." Madison had been quiet in the back seat, but now she spoke up. "Is Mommy in trouble?" "Saint Dose." Ryan met her eyes in the rearview mirror. "Mommy made some bad choices, Pumpkin, but you're not in trouble. You're safe." "I know," she said, matter-of-factly. "I'm with you and Aunt Rachel. You don't leave me places." Such simple words, but they carried the weight of a 6-year-old's entire worldview. Some adults stayed, some left. She'd learned too young which category her mother fell into. My phone buzzed with an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. "You selfish witch!" Aunt Helen's voice screeched. "How dare you ruin this family's vacation? Do you know how much we spent?" "How much did you spend on my ticket that got canceled?" I shot back. That's different. Lauren needed help with Madison." Then Lauren should have asked. With words. Like an adult, not through theft and abandonment. "You've always been jealous of her. Jealous of what her criminal record she's about to get. Her custody, she's about to lose her boyfriend who's fleeing back to Denver to testify against her, silence. Then Derek's doing what? Oh, you didn't know, he's been collecting evidence of Lauren's neglect for weeks. Turns out even he has limits." I hung up and blocked that number too. The family tree was getting pruned in real time, and I felt nothing but relief. A text from an unknown number appeared. "This is Amy, using a friend's phone. Jake and I are at LAX trying to get home. We believe you. We've seen things but stayed quiet. No more. Our kids deserve better. Can we help?" "Testify if needed," I asked. "Yes, I have photos from Christmas of Madison alone in Lauren's apartment while she was at a party. Jake has texts where Lauren asked him to lie about childcare. We're done enabling." Another crack in the foundation. Lauren had built her house of cards so high she'd forgotten how fragile the base was. Ryan pulled into his driveway. A modest ranch house in Louisville with a tire swing in the front yard and window boxes full of petunias. Madison unbuckled herself and ran to the front door, clearly at home here. "Daddy, can we have mac and cheese for lunch?" "Of course, Pumpkin. The orange kind you like." As Madison disappeared inside, Ryan turned to me. "Thank you. I mean it. You saved her today." I just made a phone call." "You broke ranks with your entire family. That took courage." My phone showed 47 missed calls, 93 unread messages, and 12 voicemails I'd probably delete without listening. The family that had made me feel worthless for 32 years was having a collective meltdown because I'd finally chosen protecting a child over protecting their secrets. "Want to know something funny?" I said, looking at the blocked contact list. This was supposed to be my dream vacation, but watching Madison feel safe, knowing she won't be abandoned again, that's worth more than any beach in Hawaii. Ryan smiled sadly. "Lauren used to be different, you know. Before the money focus consumed her, before she started seeing Madison as a paycheck instead of a person. When did it change? When she realized being a single mom got her sympathy and benefits. Suddenly shared custody wasn't enough. She needed full control for maximum profit." My phone buzzed one last time. Brittany again. "Grandma Eleanor just called me. She wants your new number. Says it's important." Eleanor. My grandmother, who'd been increasingly confused at family gatherings, who Mom always spoke for, interpreted for managed. Give her my number, I decided. 2 minutes later, my phone rang. Rachel. Grandmother's voice was crystal clear, nothing like the foggy confusion I'd witnessed at recent dinners. "Good for you, dear. It's about time someone in this family grew a spine. Now let me tell you what your mother's been doing with my bank accounts." The dominoes kept falling, each revelation bigger than the last. But Madison was safe eating mac and cheese in her father's kitchen, and that made every burned bridge worth it. Some families aren't worth saving. Some vacations aren't meant to be taken. And sometimes the best thing that can happen is getting left behind because it finally sets you free to move forward. Sunday morning arrived with the kind of crisp Colorado sunshine that usually lifted my spirits. Instead, I sat at Ryan's kitchen table, mainlining coffee while Madison played with blocks in the living room, trying to process everything Grandmother Eleanor had revealed in our 2-hour conversation the night before. $27,000, I muttered, staring at the numbers I'd written down. She stole $27,000 from her own mother. Ryan refilled my mug, his own exhaustion evident in the dark circles under his eyes. "Your grandmother's meeting with her lawyer Monday." First thing, apparently she's been documenting everything for months, just waiting for someone in the family to break ranks so she'd have an ally. Madison wandered into the kitchen, dragging her favorite stuffed elephant. "Daddy, is today a school day?" "No pumpkin, it's Sunday, but tomorrow you'll go to camp like usual." "Good. I want to tell Miss Katie about my venture at the airport." She climbed into Ryan's lap. "Can Aunt Rachel take me to camp?" "We'll see what the judge says, sweetheart." The emergency custody hearing was scheduled for Monday morning, but Marcus had called late Saturday night with concerns. Lauren had been posting increasingly erratic messages on social media from Hawaii, including threats to take back what's mine and make everyone pay. He'd screenshot everything for evidence, but warned us to be prepared for anything. My phone blessed silent since I'd blocked. Most of my family, buzzed with a text from Derek, landed. "At the Sheraton downtown. Can we meet before I see the lawyer? There's something you need to know." Ryan and I exchanged glances. Madison want to watch a movie while Daddy and I talk to a friend. "Can I watch Frozen?" Again, Ryan smiled. "Sure, pumpkin." Derek met us at a coffee shop near his hotel, looking haggard and older than his 34 years. He'd clearly come straight from the airport, still in his Hawaiian shirt that now seemed like evidence of a crime. "Before I say anything else," he began, "I need you to know I didn't understand how bad it was. Lauren's persuasive. She made everything sound reasonable." "What changed?" I asked. "Madison." He stirred his coffee absently. 2 weeks ago, Lauren left her with me while she went to a work emergency. Except I saw her Instagram later. She was at a wine tasting in Estes Park. Madison had a nightmare, woke up crying for her dad. When I suggested calling Ryan, she begged me not to tell Mommy, a 6-year-old terrified of wanting her father. That's when I started paying attention. "And," Ryan prompted, his jaw tight. Derek pulled out his phone, scrolling through files. I started recording conversations. Lauren talking about the custody case, the money, her plans. He found what he was looking for and slid the phone across. This is from Thursday night. Lauren's voice filled the space between us, whine slurred but clear. Once we get back from Hawaii, I'm filing papers to relocate to California. My cousin has a job connection there. Ryan won't be able to afford to fight it, and interstate custody is a nightmare. Madison's my meal ticket until she's 18, 21 if I play the college support right. My stomach churned. She called her daughter a meal ticket. It gets worse, Derek said quietly. Keep listening. Another voice. My mother. What about the support payments? California's expensive. That's the beautiful part. Lauren laughed. Child support follows the kid. Plus, California has better benefit programs. I've already researched it. Single mom escaping a difficult ex. They'll throw resources at me. Brilliant, Mom replied. And Rachel? She'll fall in line like always. Probably offer to help me move. God, she's pathetic. Derek stopped the recording. There's hours of this. She talks about you constantly, Rachel. It's like she feeds off putting you down. Why are you helping us? Ryan asked bluntly. What's in it for you? Derek met his eyes. Nothing, except maybe sleeping at night. I'm not perfect, but I'm not a monster. What she's doing to Madison, to both of you, it's evil, plain and simple. Will you testify? I asked. Already told the lawyer I would. Fair warning, though. Lauren's been texting me nonstop since I left. She knows something's up. As if summoned by his words, Derek's phone exploded with messages. He showed us the screen, 23 texts from Lauren in the past 10 minutes, ranging from sweet manipulation to outright threats. She's spiraling, Ryan observed. Marcus needs to know about the relocation plan immediately. We called Marcus from the parking lot, putting him on speaker. His reaction was immediate and forceful. California, absolutely not. We're filing an emergency motion to prevent relocation. Derek, can you send me all those recordings? Already uploaded to a cloud drive. I'll share the link. Excellent. Ryan, I need you and Rachel at my office in an hour. We're moving up our timeline. If Lauren's planning to run, we need stronger legal barriers in place. Madison was still contentedly watching Frozen when we returned to collect her. She'd built an elaborate block castle around herself, complete with toy dragon guardians. That's quite a fortress, I observed. It keeps the bad things out, she explained matter-of-factly. Like when Mommy yells or Grandma says mean things. Ryan and I shared a look over her head. Even in play, she was processing trauma. Marcus's office occupied the top floor of a gleaming downtown Denver high-rise. His assistant, despite it being Sunday, had everything prepared. The conference room table was covered with documents, printouts, and legal precedents. Based on Derek's recordings and the airport incident, Marcus began, "We're seeking immediate sole custody with supervised visitation only. The relocation threat changes everything." "What about grandparent rights?" I asked. My mother was coaching Madison to lie. "We'll include a restraining order against Patricia Thompson. The evidence of parental alienation is overwhelming." Marcus pulled up a document on his laptop. "I've also been in touch with the prosecutor's office. They're very interested in the fraud case." Madison played with a puzzle in the corner while we discussed her future. Every few minutes, she'd look up to ensure Ryan and I were still there, a heartbreaking reminder of her abandonment anxiety. "The emergency hearing is tomorrow at 9. Marcus continued. "Lauren's lawyer has been trying to reach me, but I'm letting him sweat. She's made 3 attempts to fly back early, but apparently she's on the no-fly list pending the criminal investigation." "She's stuck in Hawaii?" Ryan asked. "For at least another 48 hours. The airline flagged her as a potential flight risk, pun intended, after the disturbance on her outbound flight." My phone buzzed. "Jake, Amy and I are back in Denver. We have evidence. When do you need us?" I showed Marcus the text. "More family members are breaking ranks." "Good. We'll need character witnesses to counter whatever sob story Lauren tries to spin." The rest of the afternoon was a blur of affidavit statements and legal preparation. Madison napped on the conference room couch, clutching her elephant while we built an ironclad case for her protection. Around 4 p.m., Marcus received a call that made him smile grimly. That was Judge Harrison's clerk. He's keeping the case instead of passing it to the regular rotation. He wants to see this through. "Is that good?" I asked. Judge Harrison has 4 daughters and 6 granddaughters. He has very strong opinions about people who exploit children. Derek arrived with a thumb drive containing every recording text and email. The sheer volume was staggering. Months of Lauren discussing her daughter like a business venture, planning manipulations, celebrating successful cons. "This one's particularly damning," Derek said, queuing up a video from 2 months ago. Lauren appeared on screen clearly drunk at what looked like a bachelorette party. "You know what the best part about having a kid is," she slurred to her friends. "Guaranteed income for 18 years, Ryan pays $1,200 a month. Plus, I get benefits tax credits, and everyone feels sorry for the poor single mom. I barely have to work." "What about Madison?" someone off camera asked. "What about her? She's fine. Kids are resilient. Besides, that's what babysitters are for." The table fell silent. Madison stirred on the couch, and Ryan moved to adjust her blanket, his hands shaking with suppressed rage. "I have 47 videos like this," Derek said quietly. She loved to brag when she drank. Marcus began incorporating everything into our filing. "With this evidence, I'm requesting an investigation into benefit fraud as well. If she's been claiming poverty while hiding assets..." "She has a savings account with $18,000, Derek interrupted. "She showed me the statement last week bragging about her rainy day fund while telling Ryan she couldn't afford Madison's dance classes." Each revelation felt like another nail in Lauren's coffin. But the worst came when Derek played a recording from Friday night, just hours before the airport abandonment. "Tomorrow's going to be hilarious," Lauren giggled. "Rachel thinks she's going on vacation. Mom and I planned everything perfectly. She'll be stuck with Madison for a week while we're in paradise. Maybe it'll teach her some humility." "Aren't you worried she'll be mad?" Derek's voice asked. "Please. Rachel. She's been desperate for family approval since we were kids. Remember when I told everyone she wet the bed at camp? She was 14 and it was just water I poured on her sheets, but she never said anything. Just took the humiliation. She'll take this too." I stood abruptly, needing air. Ryan followed me to the balcony where Denver stretched out below us in the late afternoon sun. "She's been torturing you for years," he said softly. "And I let her." Tears burned my eyes. I enabled all of this by never standing up for myself. "No." His voice was firm. "She chose to be cruel. Your mother chose to encourage it. You chose to hope your family would someday be better. That's not a character flaw, Rachel. That's human." If I'd stood up sooner, then Madison might still be getting shuffled between strangers while Lauren collected checks. Your compliance didn't cause this. Lauren's greed and cruelty did. Marcus joined us on the balcony. "I've seen a lot of custody cases. This is one of the worst in terms of parental exploitation, but it's also one of the strongest cases I've ever built. Lauren documented her own downfall." "What happens tomorrow?" I asked. "Tomorrow we present everything to Judge Harrison. Based on what I'm seeing, Ryan will likely get sole custody with Lauren having supervised visitation at best. The criminal charges will proceed separately, but this evidence ensures Madison's safety comes first." As the sun set over the mountains, Madison woke and padded out to find us. She wrapped her arms around Ryan's leg, then reached for my hand. "Are you sad, Aunt Rachel?" she asked, perceiving emotions with the radar all traumatized children develop. "A little," I admitted. "But I'm happy you're safe." "Me too," she said simply. "Daddy, can we have pizza for dinner?" "Of course, Pumpkin." "Can Aunt Rachel stay?" Ryan looked at me questioningly. My apartment felt like a lifetime away, part of the old Rachel who accepted crumbs and called it love. But there was something to be done first. "I need to pack some things," I said. "My family knows where I live." "I'll come with you," Ryan offered immediately. "Marcus, can you—" "I'll stay with Madison." Derek volunteered, surprising everyone. If that's okay, I know I was part of the problem, but maybe I can start being part of the solution. Madison studied him with those two wise eyes. You're Mommy's friend who has the nice car. That's right. Is it okay if I hang out while your dad helps your aunt? She considered this. Can you do voices when you read stories? I can try. Okay then. And just like that, with the simple acceptance only children can manage, another piece shifted in the complicated puzzle of Madison's life. Tomorrow would bring legal battles and family drama, but tonight there would be pizza and stories and the beginning of something better. The emergency hearing couldn't come soon enough. Pizza boxes littered Ryan's coffee table as Madison showed Derek her collection of books, carefully explaining which voices belonged to which character. I watched from the kitchen doorway, marveling at how quickly children could adapt when they felt safe. Derek, to his credit, threw himself into the storytelling with unexpected enthusiasm. "You're good at this," Madison announced after he'd finished reading about a brave mouse saving her family. "Better than Mommy's other boyfriends." Derek winced. "There were others who read to you." "Sometimes? Mr. Carlos was nice, but he only stayed 2 weeks. Mr. Brandon bought me ice cream, but Mommy said he was too poor. Mr. Steve had a motorcycle, but—" "Okay, pumpkin," Ryan interrupted gently. "Why don't you get ready for bed? Aunt Rachel will tuck you in." As I helped Madison with her pajamas, she chattered about her room at Daddy's house versus her room at Mommy's. The differences were telling. Here she had drawings on the walls, toys organized, but accessible, a nightlight shaped like a butterfly. She described her mother's apartment as the place where I have to be quiet. "Aunt Rachel," she asked as I tucked her in, "are you going to live here now?" "No, sweetie, I have my own apartment." "But you'll visit?" "As much as your dad says is okay." She seemed satisfied with this curling around her elephant. "I'm glad Mommy went on vacation. Is that bad?" My heart cracked. "No, honey, it's not bad to feel safe." When I returned to the living room, Derek and Ryan were deep in conversation. More recordings played on Derek's phone, each one another damning piece of evidence. "This one's from last Tuesday." Derek said, queuing up another file. Lauren's voice speaking to someone I didn't recognize. "My sister's such an easy mark. I've been setting her up for years. Remember the Christmas gift disaster? I told everyone she forgot to buy presents, but really, I just hid them. She apologized for weeks." My legs gave out. I sank onto the couch, processing this new betrayal. The Christmas incident had devastated me. I'd spent $300 on carefully chosen gifts, only to arrive and find nothing under the tree with my name on it. The family had been understanding about my forgetfulness, but the disappointment in their eyes had haunted me. "She hid them," I whispered. Derek nodded miserably. "She showed me the closet where she keeps her trophies. Your gifts were still there unopened, along with birthday cards you'd sent Madison that were never delivered, letters from your college roommate she intercepted when you lived at home, and this." He pulled up a photo on his phone. An acceptance letter from Columbia University's graduate program dated 6 years ago. I'd applied secretly, afraid to tell my family about my ambitions. When I never heard back, I assumed I'd been rejected. "She stealed it." Ryan's voice was deadly quiet. "Bragged about it, said Rachel didn't need a fancy degree to feel superior, that staying in Denver kept her in her place." The room spun. 6 years. 6 years of believing I wasn't good enough for Columbia. 6 years of smaller dreams because I thought I'd failed. "There's more," Derek continued relentlessly. "She has recordings of your mom helping plan these things. They call it keeping Rachel humble." "Play it," I said, my voice strange to my own ears. My mother's voice filled the room. "Rachel's always been too sensitive. Remember when she won that writing contest in high school? She got so uppity thinking she was special. We had to bring her back down to earth." Lauren's laugh chimed in. "That's why I submitted my poem to the same contest the next year. It was actually Rachel's poem with minor changes, but winning with her own work really shut her up." "Brilliant." Mom agreed. She never entered another contest. I ran to the bathroom and made it just in time. 32 years of manipulation poured out of me along with my dinner. Ryan appeared with a cool washcloth, holding my hair back without saying a word. "I'm sorry," I gasped between heaves. Don't you dare apologize for having normal reactions to abnormal cruelty." When I finally emerged shaky but empty, Derek had pulled up something on his laptop. "I wasn't sure if I should show you this, but you deserve to know everything." It was Lauren's Facebook logged in through saved passwords. He navigated to a hidden album titled Insurance. Inside were dozens of photos and screenshots documenting years of schemes against me. Pictures of my journal from high school with passages circled. Screenshots of my dating profiles with cruel commentary. Photos taken of me sleeping at family gatherings with degrading captions. But the worst was a video from my college graduation. I stood at the podium giving my valedictorian speech while the camera, held by Lauren, shook with silent laughter. Her whispered commentary to whoever sat beside her, "Look at her thinking she's so smart. Wait until she finds out I already told everyone she plagiarized this speech." "She didn't," I said numbly, "but people asked me about it for years." "Rachel," Ryan said gently, "this is evidence of long-term psychological abuse. Marcus needs to see all of this." "Why?" I asked Derek. "Why are you showing me this? Why document her cruelty toward me when you were dating her?" Derek ran his hands through his hair. "Because I was starting to see the pattern. First I thought her stories about you were funny. Then I noticed inconsistencies. Then Madison started saying things that didn't match Lauren's version. I began documenting everything to protect myself honestly. I could see she'd turn on me eventually." "When did you realize?" "The nail in the coffin. 2 weeks ago, she left Madison with me to go to that wine tasting, but she told me she was at a work emergency. When Madison mentioned Mommy's grape juice party on Instagram, I checked. There she was, living it up. I confronted her, and she laughed, said I was too sensitive just like you. That's when I knew I was next on her list." My phone buzzed. "Jake. Amy and I are outside. We brought evidence, and someone else who wants to help." Ryan went to the door, returning with Jake, Amy, and to my complete shock, Lauren's best friend, Stephanie. "Before you say anything," Stephanie started clutching a manila folder. "I'm here because what Lauren's doing is wrong, has been wrong for years. I'm done being complicit." "Why now?" I asked, too drained for politeness. "Because she tried to rope my daughter into one of her schemes, wanted Bella to lie about seeing bruises on Madison, offered to pay her $20. Stephanie's hands shook. My teenage daughter. She wanted to turn her into a liar for $20 and a made-up abuse allegation. Jake stepped forward. "We have screenshots of Lauren asking us to lie about childcare arrangements. She wanted us to say we'd been watching Madison regularly, but we haven't seen her in months." Amy added, "I have photos from Christmas showing Madison alone in Lauren's apartment. She asked us to check on her real quick while Lauren was at a party. We stayed for 3 hours until Lauren came back drunk." The evidence mounted. Stephanie's folder contained text messages spanning years, documenting Lauren's requests for false alibis, fake emergencies, and manufactured drama. One particularly damning exchange showed Lauren planning to accuse Ryan of stalking her, complete with fabricated evidence. "I couldn't let her destroy him," Stephanie said. "Ryan's a good father. Madison needs him." Derek had been quiet, but now he pulled out one final recording. "This is from Friday morning, right before we left for the airport." Lauren's voice cheerful and cruel. "Today's the day Rachel thinks she's going to Hawaii. God, I can't wait to see her face when she realizes she's stuck with Madison. Mom and I have a bet on how long before she calls crying. My money's on 2 hours." Patricia's voice chimed in. "I give her 4. She's pathetic but stubborn. Hey, Derek, get a picture of Rachel at the airport. I want to remember this." "Why?" Derek's voice asked carefully. "For my collection, silly, I document all my best pranks on her. Someday, when Madison's older, I'll show her how gullible Aunt Rachel was. Good lesson about not being weak." The recording ended. Silence filled the room like a physical presence. She was going to teach Madison to be like her, I said finally, to hurt people for fun. Not anymore, Ryan said firmly. This ends now. We spent the next 2 hours organizing evidence, creating copies, preparing everything for court. Stephanie revealed more disturbing patterns. Lauren's manipulation of other family members, her theft from our grandmother, her plans to escalate the psychological warfare. She keeps score, Stephanie explained, has a whole system. Points for making you cry, bonus points if you apologize for something you didn't do. She showed me the notebook once when she was drunk. Where is this notebook? Marcus asked. He'd arrived after Derek called him about the Columbia letter. Hidden in her apartment unless she took it to Hawaii. She calls it her trophy book. We'll need a warrant, Marcus mused, but with this evidence that shouldn't be hard to obtain. As midnight approached, the full scope of Lauren's pathology became clear. This wasn't just sibling rivalry or family dysfunction. This was systematic, deliberate torture spanning decades. I need some air, I announced, stumbling toward the back door. Denver's night air bit sharp and clean. I gulped it down, trying to process the avalanche of revelations. My entire life had been shaped by someone else's cruelty. Every insecurity, every self-doubt, every abandoned dream, all carefully orchestrated by my own sister. Hey, Jake appeared beside me. I'm sorry, we should have protected you. You were a kid, too. I was old enough to know right from wrong. It was easier to go along, to laugh at Lauren's stories, to believe you were everything she said. He kicked at a loose board in the deck. Amy opened my eyes, asked me how I'd feel if someone treated our boys the way Lauren treats you. What did you say? Nothing, because I couldn't imagine it. Couldn't imagine taking pleasure in my children's pain. That's when I realized, Lauren's not normal. This isn't normal. But Mom is worse, Jake said flatly, because she should have protected you. Instead, she encouraged it, participated, enjoyed it. His voice cracked. We had different mothers, Rachel. Yours was cruel. Mine just looked away. We stood in silence, processing the wreckage of our family mythology. Inside, Derek was showing Marcus something on his phone. She's melting down on social media. Look at these posts. Lauren's Facebook had erupted with increasingly unhinged status updates. Accusations flew against everyone. I'd kidnapped Madison, Ryan had brainwashed Derek. The police were corrupt. The judges were biased. The final post, timestamped 20 minutes ago, sent chills down my spine. When I get back, there will be consequences. Rachel will pay for destroying my family. I know where she works. I know where she lives. She'll regret the day she crossed me. That's a credible threat, Marcus said immediately. We're filing for a restraining order tonight. Rachel, you can't go to your apartment alone. She can stay here, Ryan offered. The couch pulls out, or Madison's room has a trundle bed. I don't want to impose. You're not, Ryan said firmly. You're Madison's aunt who saved her from a lifetime of manipulation. Your family, the good kind. Derek stood to leave, pausing at the door. I'll be in court tomorrow. Whatever you need me to say or do. He looked at me directly. I'm sorry I was part of this. I should have spoken up sooner. You're speaking up now, I said. That matters. After everyone left, I helped Ryan clean up the detritus of our impromptu war council. Madison slept peacefully down the hall, unaware that her entire world was reshaping around her. Thank you, I said quietly, for believing me, for not thinking I'm overreacting. Overreacting. Ryan laughed bitterly. Rachel, you're underreacting. What she's done to you, it's torture. Psychological torture sustained over decades. Any reasonable person would have snapped years ago. I just wanted a sister, I admitted. Someone to share secrets with. Someone who had my back. You have that now, he said. Maybe not in blood, but in choice. Jake's choosing you. Amy's choosing you. Hell, even Stephanie and Derek are choosing what's right over what's easy. My phone showed 3 a.m. In 6 hours, we'd face Judge Harrison again. Lauren was still in Hawaii, probably drunk and raging. My mother was likely plotting damage control. But Madison was safe, and an army of unexpected allies had materialized from the ashes of my burned bridges. "Get some sleep," Ryan said gently. "Tomorrow's going to be a long day." I settled onto the pull-out couch, surrounded by the normal detritus of a lived-in home. Toys peeking out from under furniture, Madison's artwork on the refrigerator, pictures of her with Ryan at various ages, both of them grinning. This was what family was supposed to look like. Not trophy books documenting cruelty, not stolen dreams and hidden Christmas presents, just love. Simple, uncomplicated love. As I drifted off, I thought about 6-year-old Madison reading her mouse book with Derek. Even after everything, she could still trust, still hope, still believe that some people would stay. Tomorrow, we'd make sure she was right. Monday morning arrived with the kind of crystalline clarity that made the mountains look close enough to touch. I woke to the sound of Madison singing in the kitchen, her voice high and sweet as she helped Ryan make breakfast. For a moment, I forgot why I was sleeping on a pull-out couch in my ex-brother-in-law's living room. Then my phone screen lit up with 43 new messages, and reality crashed back. "Jake, Lauren's trying to get on an earlier flight. Airport security has her flagged." "Stephanie, she's posting everything on Instagram. It's completely unhinged." "Amy, we're already at the courthouse, brought all our evidence." But it was the message from an unknown number that made my blood run cold. "You think you're safe, but I know people in Denver. Watch your back, L." "She's escalating," Marcus said when I called him. "Forward that threat immediately. We'll add it to the restraining order petition." Ryan appeared with coffee and toast, Madison trailing behind him with her own breakfast. "Aunt Rachel, are you living here now?" she asked, climbing onto the couch beside me. "Just visiting, sweetheart." "That's okay. Daddy says you're helping keep me safe." She took a bite of her waffle. "Is Mommy mad?" Ryan and I exchanged glances. "Mommy's having some big feelings right now," I said carefully. "She has those sometimes. That's when I have to go to Mrs. Pat's house." Madison's matter-of-fact tone broke my heart. "But I don't like Mrs. Pat. Her house smells like cigarettes and she forgets I'm there." "Who's Mrs. Pat?" Ryan asked, his voice dangerously quiet. "The lady in Mommy's building, apartment 12B. She watches TV all day and gives me crackers for dinner." Another name for the neglect list. Another stranger who'd been more present in Madison's life than her own mother. Marcus called while we were getting ready. "Slight complication. Lauren's lawyer has filed an emergency motion claiming parental alienation. He's arguing you've poisoned Madison against her mother." "That's ridiculous," Ryan exploded. "Of course it is. But we need to be prepared for their tactics. They're going to paint Rachel as a jealous sister who orchestrated this to steal Madison, Ryan as a vindictive ex, everyone else as pawns in your conspiracy." "Let them try," I said. "We have recordings of Lauren calling her daughter a meal ticket, which is why we'll win. But heads up, Patricia flew back early. She'll likely be at the hearing." My mother. Of course, she'd abandoned her Hawaiian vacation to support her golden child. I wondered if she'd left my father there or if he dutifully followed the way he always did. Sarah, my friend from work, met us at my apartment to pack essentials. The building felt different knowing Lauren had people watching it. Every neighbor became suspect, every shadow a potential threat. "This is insane," Sarah muttered, helping me stuff clothes into a suitcase. "Your own sister. You should hear what she stole from me over the years," I said, filling her in on the Columbia letter, the hidden Christmas gifts, the stolen poetry prize. Sarah stopped packing, her face pale. "Oh my God. Rachel, do you remember when you didn't get that promotion 2 years ago?" "The one that went to Brad, yeah, why?" "Lauren called the office. I took the message. She said she was your doctor's office confirming your appointment for... I can't remember exactly, but it sounded serious. I told HR because I was worried about you." The room tilted. "I never had any medical appointments." "She must have called multiple times. There were rumors you had health issues. That might have affected the promotion decision." Another piece clicked into place. That promotion had come with a $20,000 raise. I'd been devastated when Brad got it instead, especially when my performance reviews were better. Now I knew why. She sabotaged my career, I said numbly. We need to tell Marcus, Sarah said. This is witness tampering or something. We finished packing in grim silence. As we loaded my car, my elderly neighbor, Mrs. Chen, approached. Rachel, dear, your sister was here yesterday, said she lost her key and needed into your apartment. Mrs. Chen, I've been gone since Saturday. Lauren is in Hawaii. The elderly woman's face creased with concern. But she showed me pictures on her phone, said you asked her to water your plants. What did she look like? Blonde about your height. Very convincing. I didn't let her in, but she was quite insistent. Patricia. My mother had been here trying to break into my apartment while I was protecting Madison. The violation felt visceral. Thank you for not letting her in, I managed. If anyone else comes by claiming to be family, please call the police. At the courthouse, the scene was chaos. News vans lined the street. Apparently, someone had leaked the story of a family abandoning a child at an airport for a Hawaiian vacation. Reporters shouted questions as we hurried inside. Is it true Lauren Thompson left her daughter to steal her sister's vacation? Ryan, how long has your ex-wife been neglecting Madison? Rachel, why did you call the father instead of watching your niece? Marcus met us at security, his expression stormy. Someone tipped off the media. 3 guesses who. Inside the family court waiting area, the divisions were clear. On one side, Ryan, myself, Jake, and Amy, Stephanie, Derek, and even Brittany, who'd driven down from Fort Collins. On the other, my mother, flanked by 2 women I didn't recognize, and Lauren's lawyer, a nervous-looking man who kept checking his phone. Patricia locked eyes with me across the room. For 32 years, I'd have crumbled under that disapproving glare. But something had shifted. I stared back, steady and unashamed, until she looked away first. Rachel. She approached during a lull, her voice honeyed poison. This has gone far enough. Drop these ridiculous charges and we can fix this as a family. The way you fixed my Columbia acceptance or my promotion or my Christmas gifts. Her face cycled through emotions, surprise calculation finally settling on haughty indifference. I don't know what you're talking about. Derek showed me everything. Lauren's trophy book, the recordings, the plans you made together. I stepped closer, my voice low. You tortured me for 32 years, but Madison, that ends now. You always were too sensitive, she sniffed. Lauren just has a stronger personality. You should be grateful she included you at all. Included me, she stole my life. Dramatic as always. No wonder you can't keep a man. The words should have stung. Instead, I laughed. Actually, laughed. You know what, you're right. I am too sensitive. Too sensitive to let a 6-year-old suffer the way I did. Too sensitive to watch child abuse and stay quiet. Too sensitive to choose family reputation over a little girl's safety. Judge Harrison's clerk called us in before Patricia could respond. The courtroom was smaller than I'd expected, more like a conference room than the grand chambers of TV dramas. Madison wasn't present. She was with a child advocate in a separate room protecting her from the adult conflict. Lauren appeared on the courtroom's video screen from Hawaii, her hair disheveled, makeup smeared. She'd clearly been drinking. Your Honor. Her lawyer began, My client is the victim of a coordinated attack by a jealous sister and vindictive ex-husband. She made appropriate childcare arrangements that were sabotaged. Counsel, Judge Harrison interrupted. I've reviewed the evidence submitted. Are you aware your client is currently intoxicated during this emergency hearing? On screen, Lauren swayed slightly. I'm not drunk. They stole my baby. Rachel's always been jealous because I'm prettier and more successful and... Ms. Thompson, the judge cut her off. You're not helping your case. Marcus stood. Your Honor, we have additional evidence that came to light over the weekend. He presented everything. The recordings, the trophy book references, the fraud documentation, the threats. With each piece, Lauren's face grew redder. "That's edited," she screeched. "Derek's lying because I dumped him. Stephanie's jealous, everyone's jealous." "Ms. Thompson, please control yourself," Judge Harrison warned. "Control myself. They kidnapped my daughter. My meal, my baby." The slip was small but significant. Even her lawyer winced. Derek testified first, calm and methodical. He played the recording, showed the financial documents described Madison's fear of her mother's anger. Lauren screamed objections from the screen until Judge Harrison muted her. Stephanie followed, detailing years of witness neglect and manipulation. Jake and Amy presented their evidence. Even Brittany testified about the family's conspiracy to abandon me at the airport. Then it was my turn. "Ms. Thompson." Marcus began, "Tell the court about Saturday morning." I spoke steadily, laying out the orchestrated betrayal, the canceled ticket, the note, the $200 meant to buy my compliance, finding out about decades of psychological torture. "She stole my Columbia acceptance," I said, my voice breaking slightly. "My Christmas gifts, my poetry prize, my promotion, but I can forgive all of that. What I can't forgive is her planning to do the same thing to Madison, to teach her that cruelty is love, that manipulation is family, that people only have worth as meal tickets." "Objection," Lauren's lawyer shouted. "Prejudicial, Overruled," Judge Harrison said. "Continue, Ms. Thompson." "Madison asked me if it was bad that she was glad her mom went on vacation. 6 years old and she's already relieved when her mother leaves. That's not normal. That's not okay. That's not what any child should feel." "You don't have kids," Lauren screamed from the unmuted screen. "You don't understand. You've never understood anything because you're a pathetic, dried-up—" Judge Harrison muted her again. "I've heard enough. Mr. Torres is your home suitable for full-time custody." "Yes, Your Honor. Madison has her own room. She's enrolled in school nearby, and I've already arranged my work schedule to accommodate her needs." "Very well." The judge's expression was granite. "Based on the evidence presented, I'm granting emergency sole custody to Mr. Torres. Ms. Thompson, when you return to Colorado, you'll have supervised visitation only pending the outcome of criminal charges. You're also ordered to undergo psychological evaluation and parenting classes." "No." Lauren's muted scream was still visible on screen, her face contorted with rage. "Furthermore," Judge Harrison continued, "I'm issuing a restraining order protecting both Rachel Thompson and Madison Torres from Lauren Thompson and Patricia Thompson. They are not to come within 500 feet of either party." "Your Honor," Patricia stood, "I'm the grandmother. You can't—" "Mrs. Thompson, evidence shows you coached a minor to lie in court proceedings. You're lucky you're not facing charges yourself. Sit down." Patricia sank into her chair, her face pale. "Ms. Lauren Thompson." The judge addressed the screen. "You have 72 hours to return to Colorado and surrender to authorities on the pending criminal charges. Failure to do so will result in a warrant for your arrest. This hearing is adjourned." The screen went black. Lauren was gone, cut off mid-scream. In the hallway afterward, Patricia tried one more time. "You've destroyed our family," she hissed. "No," I said clearly. "You did that. Every time you chose cruelty over kindness, every time you laughed at Lauren's torture, every time you made me feel worthless, you destroyed our family. I just finally stopped pretending it was love." Madison emerged from the advocate's room, running straight to Ryan. "Can we go home now?" "Yes, Pumpkin, we can go home." "Is Aunt Rachel coming?" "If she wants to," Ryan said, looking at me questioningly. I thought about my empty apartment probably being watched. My family shattered beyond repair. My sister drunk and raging in Hawaii, about to face criminal charges. Then I looked at Madison's hopeful face, at Ryan's steady presence, at the unexpected allies surrounding us. "I'll follow you there," I said. Sometimes the best family is the one you choose. And sometimes the greatest gift someone can give you is abandoning you at an airport, because it finally forces you to see that what you were leaving behind was never worth staying for. Lauren had given me that gift. Now it was time to build something better from the ashes. Tuesday morning arrived with storm clouds that matched the tempest about to break over Ryan's quiet suburban street. Lauren had managed to catch a red-eye flight despite her placement on the airline watch list, probably by causing such a scene that they'd rather deal with her in Denver than keep her in Hawaii. The tracking app on Derek's phone, still linked to her Google account, showed her landing at 6 a.m. She's not going to her apartment. Derek reported watching the GPS dot move across his screen. She's heading straight here. Ryan immediately called the police while I helped Madison get dressed for camp. She hummed while picking out her clothes, blissfully unaware that her mother was racing toward us like a hurricane. "Purple shirt or pink?" she asked, holding up both options. "Purple's nice," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Mommy hates purple, says it makes me look sick." She pulled on the purple shirt with satisfaction. "But I like it." The first police car arrived at 7:20. Officer Martinez from the airport incident stepped out, followed by her partner. "We'll park across the street," she informed us. "If she shows up, do not engage. Let us handle it." Madison ate her cereal while Ryan paced the kitchen, phone in hand. Marcus was on standby, the restraining order paperwork ready but not yet served. Everything hinged on Lauren's next move. At 7:43, she arrived. The rental car screeched to a halt in the driveway, blocking Ryan's truck. Lauren exploded out of the driver's seat, her vacation clothes wrinkled, hair tangled, face twisted with rage. My mother emerged from the passenger side, followed by the two women from court. Lauren's friends from college, I realized. "Madison!" Lauren screamed. "Mommy's here, come out right now!" Ryan quickly moved Madison to her bedroom. "Stay here with Aunt Rachel Pumpkin. Daddy needs to talk to some adults." "Is Mommy having big feelings again?" Madison asked, too perceptive for her age. "Yes, sweetheart, but you're safe." Through Madison's window, I watched the scene unfold. Lauren pounded on the front door while Patricia tried the windows. The two friends hung back, clearly uncomfortable, but not enough to leave. "I know you're in there," Lauren shrieked. "You can't steal my baby, Madison. Madison, come to Mommy." The police officers approached slowly, hands on their radios. "Ma'am, you need to step away from the property." Lauren whirled on them. "This is my daughter's house. I have every right to be here." "Actually," Officer Martinez said calmly, "there's a restraining order in effect. You need to leave immediately." "That's impossible. Court was yesterday. You can't serve papers that fast." "Emergency orders can be issued immediately, ma'am. You're in violation. This is your only warning." Patricia stepped forward, ever the enabler. "Officers, this is a family matter. Surely we can—" "Mrs. Thompson, you're also named in the restraining order. Both of you need to leave now." That's when Lauren lost it completely. She lunged for the front door, screaming obscenities. When the officers moved to intercept, she swung at Officer Williams, her manicured nails catching his cheek. In seconds, she was on the ground in handcuffs, while Patricia shrieked about police brutality and the two friends filmed everything on their phones. "Tell them, Mom," Lauren screamed from the ground. "Tell them about Rachel's plan, how she's always wanted my life, how she can't have babies, so she's stealing mine." I froze. Can't have babies. Another lie, another manipulation, but delivered with such conviction that for a moment I wondered if she believed her own fiction. Ryan emerged onto the front porch, his phone recording. "Lauren, stop this. You're scaring Madison." "Don't you dare use my daughter against me." She writhed against the handcuffs. "You planned this. You and that barren witch sister of mine, Derek, told me everything." Derek stepped out from behind Ryan, his own phone recording. "Actually, I told her the truth, which is why she's going to jail." The look of betrayal on Lauren's face would have been satisfying if it weren't so pathetic. "Derek, baby, what are you doing with them?" The right thing, finally. "You're supposed to be on my side." I was, until I realized your side meant watching a little girl suffer. He turned to the officers. "I have recordings of her discussing plans to violate the restraining order. She knew about it before she flew back." Patricia tried to run, then making it 3 steps before Officer Martinez caught her arm. "Ma'am, don't make this worse." "I haven't done anything wrong. I'm trying to see my granddaughter." "The granddaughter you coached to lie about her father?" Officer Martinez asked. "That granddaughter—" More police arrived. Lauren was hauled to her feet, grass stains on her designer resort wear. As they led her to the patrol car, she caught sight of us through the window, Madison tucked against my side, safe and protected. "That should be me," she screamed. "I'm her mother. I carried her. I deserve." The car door slammed on whatever she thought she deserved. Patricia wasn't arrested, but received formal trespass warnings. As she was escorted to the rental car, she locked eyes with me through the window. The venom there could have stripped paint. The 2 friends, Monica and Jessica, I learned later, seemed shell-shocked. Jessica approached Derek as the chaos died down. "Is it true?" she asked quietly. "Everything you said in court?" "Every word. I have recordings if you want to hear them." "No," Monica said quickly. We came because she said her family was destroying her life. But this—" She gestured at the police cars, the handcuffs, the whole mess. "This isn't normal." "No," Derek agreed. "It's not." They left without another word, the last of Lauren's flying monkeys, finally seeing the witch for what she was. Inside, Madison hadn't moved from my side. "Is Mommy going to jail?" Ryan knelt beside us. "Mommy needs some help to make better choices. The police are going to make sure she gets that help." "Oh," Madison considered this. "Like when I had to go to timeout for hitting James at school. Something like that pumpkin." "I hope it helps. Mommy's not very good at making choices." The simple honesty of it broke my heart. This 6-year-old understood her mother better than Lauren understood herself. Marcus arrived as the last police car pulled away. Well, that was dramatic. Also perfect for our case. Assaulting an officer, violating a restraining order, disturbing the peace. Lauren just made the prosecutor's job much easier. "What happens now?" I asked. "Now she's processed, arraigned, and hopefully held without bail given her flight risk. Patricia will likely face charges for attempted witness tampering based on her courthouse behavior. The criminal cases will proceed separately from the custody issue, but this morning's display certainly helps our position." Jake called while we were processing everything. "It's all over social media. Monica posted the video of Lauren attacking the cop. The caption says, 'When you realize your friend is actually the villain.'" "Is that good or bad?" Ryan asked. "Good for the case, bad for Lauren's reputation. She's finished in Denver." Madison tugged on my sleeve. "Can I still go to camp? It's art day." The normalcy of the request amid the chaos made me laugh. "Of course, sweetheart, let's get your backpack." As I helped her gather her things, she chattered about the butterfly they were painting in art class. No mention of the morning's drama, no tears for her arrested mother. Just a little girl excited about purple paint and glitter. Ryan drove her to camp while I stayed at the house with Marcus and Derek. My phone had been silent all morning. The family grapevine apparently stunned into speechlessness by Lauren's very public meltdown. "You should probably find somewhere else to stay," Marcus advised. "Patricia knows you're here now." "I have a colleague with an Airbnb," Derek offered. "It's empty this week. You'd be safe there." Safe. Such a simple word that had become so complicated. Safe from my own family. Safe from the people who were supposed to love me. Stephanie arrived with coffee and updates. Lauren's meltdown is everywhere. Someone leaked the court recordings too. The one where she calls Madison a meal ticket has gone viral. "Who leaked them?" Marcus asked sharply. "Does it matter?" Stephanie shrugged. "Public records are public, and honestly, people should know what she is. How many other single moms has she conned with her sob stories?" My phone finally buzzed. An unknown number with a text. "This is Eleanor. Watch the news." Good. Patricia's access to my accounts has been frozen. Lawyer says she took $43,000 total, not $27 like I thought. Pressing charges. Stay strong, dear. $43,000. My mother had stolen $43,000 from her own mother while gaslighting us all about Grandma's declining mental state. "I need to see her," I said suddenly. "My grandmother. She's been alone in this too." I'll drive you, Derek offered. Ryan won't want you going alone. The trip to grandmother's assisted living facility took 20 minutes. 20 minutes of processing how deep the corruption ran. Lauren and my mother hadn't just tortured me. They'd built an entire criminal enterprise on the backs of family trust. Eleanor was in the garden, lucid and sharp as ever. Rachel. She stood to embrace me, her grip surprisingly strong. I saw the news. That police officer will need a tetanus shot after Lauren's manicure attack. Grandma, I'm so sorry. I should have... Stop. Her voice was firm. You were a victim, too. Patricia made sure of that. Isolated you, broke you down, made you grateful for scraps. Classic abuse tactics. How long have you known about the money? 6 months. About the psychological torture years. She sighed. I tried to intervene when you were younger, but Patricia threatened to cut off my access to all the grandchildren. I chose poorly. You were protecting everyone. No, dear, I was protecting myself, my access, my comfort. Her eyes, the same hazel as Madison's, filled with tears. I failed you, but I won't fail Madison. We talked for an hour. She showed me bank statements, forged signatures, elaborate schemes. Patricia hadn't just stolen money. She'd tried to have Eleanor declared incompetent to gain full control. Only Eleanor's secret lawyer had prevented it. There's something else, Eleanor said as we prepared to leave. Your inheritance. The one Patricia told you didn't exist. What inheritance? Your grandfather left each grandchild $50,000 in trust. Patricia has been managing it, telling you it was spent on your college. But Rachel... She pulled out a folder. It's all still there, plus 20 years of interest, about $83,000 now. I stared at the numbers, my mind reeling. Another theft, another betrayal, another piece of my life stolen by the people who claimed to love me. Take it, Eleanor urged. Use it to build the life they tried to deny you. And Rachel, that Columbia acceptance. It's not too late. You're only 32. You could still go. Derek drove me back in silence, letting me process. By the time we reached Ryan's house, Lauren's arrest was trending locally. The comments ranged from supportive to cruel, but one stood out. I dated Ryan Torres for 2 years after his divorce. He's the most devoted father I've ever met. If he says Lauren's dangerous, believe him. Team Madison. Who's that? I asked, showing Ryan the comment. Sarah, my ex. We're still friends. She must have seen the news. He smiled sadly. Lauren made sure everyone thought I was the problem. Nice to see the truth finally coming out. Madison returned from camp covered in purple glitter, proudly displaying a painting of a butterfly breaking free from a cocoon. It's you, Aunt Rachel. Me. Miss Katie said butterflies have to fight to get out, like how you fought to help me. She placed the painting carefully on the coffee table. Can I put it in my room at your house when you get one? When I get one, not if. When. This 6-year-old had more faith in my future than I'd had in decades. You know what? I said, making a decision. Yes, and maybe we can paint more butterflies for the walls. Purple ones. All the purple ones you want. That evening, as I packed for the Airbnb, my phone rang with another unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Rachel. A woman's voice, nervous but determined. This is Janet Williams. From high school, I saw the news about your sister, and I need to tell you something. Janet, I barely remembered her. A quiet girl from English class. Lauren destroyed my life senior year, spread rumors about me and Mr. Peterson, said I was sleeping with him for grades. It wasn't true, but everyone believed her. I had to transfer schools. Oh my God, Janet, I had no idea. There are others. We've been finding each other on Facebook. She's hurt so many people, Rachel, and we're ready to talk if it helps keep her away from her daughter. More victims, more patterns, more proof that Lauren's cruelty extended far beyond family. Thank you, I managed. I'll let the prosecutor know. After I hung up, Ryan found me crying in the guest room. Hey, what's wrong? She's been doing this forever, hurting people, destroying lives, and I never stopped her. You couldn't stop what you couldn't see. She's a master manipulator, Rachel. That's not your fault. But Madison is safe because of you. You stopped the cycle. That little girl will never wonder why her family hurts her for fun. She'll never hide pictures of people she loves. She'll never apologize for existing. He handed me a tissue. You did that. You saved her. That night, in the safety of Derek's colleagues' empty Airbnb, I finally let myself dream. Law school at Columbia, a little apartment with purple walls where Madison could visit, Sunday dinners with chosen family instead of obligatory torture sessions, a life built on truth instead of manipulation. Lauren was in jail. Patricia was facing charges. The family empire of cruelty was crumbling. And somewhere in Louisville, a 6-year-old girl was sleeping peacefully, clutching a stuffed elephant, finally free to love purple without consequence. The butterfly had broken free from the cocoon, and she'd helped another one escape too. Wednesday arrived with the kind of oppressive heat that made Denver feel like a desert. I'd spent a restless night in the unfamiliar Airbnb bed, my phone buzzing intermittently with messages from numbers I didn't recognize. By morning, the full scope of our family's implosion was becoming clear. The first call came at 6 a.m. from Aunt Helen, my mother's younger sister who lived in Phoenix. I'd never been particularly close to her, but her name on my phone screen still made my stomach clench. Rachel. Her voice sounded different, older, tired. I saw the news about Lauren and Patricia. I need to tell you something. I sat up instantly alert. Aunt Helen. I stopped coming to family gatherings 5 years ago. Do you remember? I did. Mom had said Helen was jealous of our close-knit family, that she'd become bitter after her divorce. Mom said you were going through a difficult time. A laugh, bitter as black coffee. Is that what she said? No, dear. I stopped coming because I couldn't watch what they were doing to you anymore. My throat constricted. What do you mean? Christmas 2019. You'd just gotten that promotion. The first one before the one Patricia sabotaged. You were so happy, so proud. And I watched your mother and Lauren spend the entire dinner tearing you down. Every achievement minimized, every story interrupted, every joy poisoned. I remembered that Christmas. I'd left early claiming a migraine and cried in my car for an hour. I pulled Patricia aside, Helen continued. Told her she was destroying you. Do you know what she said? What? That you needed humbling, that success would make you think you were better than the family, that Lauren was the star and you were just supporting cast. Her voice cracked. I told her she was sick. We haven't spoken since. Why didn't you tell me? The question came out as a whisper. Because you weren't ready to hear it. You still showed up, still smiled, still tried so hard to earn their love. I knew you'd have to see it for yourself. I'm just sorry it took Madison getting hurt for that to happen. We talked for another 20 minutes. Helen revealed more family secrets. Cousins who'd distanced themselves, relatives who'd been gaslit into silence, an entire network of people who'd recognized the toxicity, but felt powerless to stop it. There's going to be a reckoning, Helen said finally. Patricia and Lauren hurt a lot of people. Now that the dam's broken, the flood's coming. She was right. By 8 a.m., my phone was a symphony of notifications. Jake had created a new family group chat, one without Mom or Lauren. The messages were revelatory. Cousin Michael, I've been in therapy for 3 years because of family dynamics. My therapist has been begging me to go no contact. Cousin Brittany, remember when Lauren told everyone I was pregnant at 16 I was a virgin? The rumor followed me for years. Uncle Robert Mom's brother, Patricia, borrowed $30,000 for Lauren's wedding and never paid it back. When I asked, she said I was being greedy. Jake, Amy's parents offered to pay for us to move to Texas. We're taking it. The family mythology was crumbling in real time. Every message revealed another cruelty, another theft, another life damaged by the toxic duo of my mother and sister. Ryan called during breakfast. "Madison's asking about you. She made you something at camp yesterday but forgot to give it to you. I can come by. Actually, would you mind picking her up from camp today? I have a meeting with Marcus about the permanent custody arrangement." Of course. Normal. Such a simple request, but it felt monumental. Being trusted with Madison, being part of her routine, being chosen family instead of obligatory burden. Derek texted while I was getting dressed. "Lauren's arraignment is at 2 p.m. Marcus says we don't need to be there, but I'm going. Want to come?" I did. I needed to see this through. The courthouse was a different circus than Monday's family court drama. Criminal court carried a different energy. Harder, less forgiving. Lauren appeared in orange jail clothes, her perfectly maintained appearance finally cracking. Her hair hung limp makeup absent the cruel beauty she'd always weaponized stripped away. She pleaded not guilty to all charges: assault on a police officer child, abandonment, fraud, violating a restraining order. Her lawyer, looking even more nervous than before, requested bail. "Your Honor." The prosecutor began, "The defendant has significant financial resources obtained through fraudulent means, has threatened witnesses via social media, and has expressed plans to flee the state with the minor child. The people request remand." "That's not true," Lauren shrieked. "I would never—" "Ms. Thompson," the judge interrupted, "you'll have your chance to speak through counsel." Her lawyer made weak arguments about community ties and Lauren's lack of prior record. Then the prosecutor played an audio recording, one of Derek's from the plane to Hawaii. Lauren's voice wine loose and confident. "Once I get Madison back, we're gone. Mexico, maybe. Somewhere Ryan can't follow. I've got enough saved to last a year, and there's always American men looking for a pretty single mom to save." The judge's expression could have frozen hell. "Bail is denied. The defendant will remain in custody pending trial." "No." Lauren lunged toward the gallery where Derek sat. "You bastard, you were supposed to love me." The bailiffs restrained her as she screamed obscenities. Her eyes found mine in the gallery, and the hatred there was pure poison. "You did this," she shrieked as they dragged her away. "You poisoned everyone against me. I'll ruin you. I'll destroy you. You'll never—" The door slammed shut, cutting off her threats. In the hallway afterward, Derek looked shaken. I knew she was toxic, but seeing it like this— "The mask is completely off," I agreed. We were heading for the exit when Patricia appeared flanked by an expensive-looking lawyer. She'd clearly come for the arraignment, but arrived too late. Her eyes locked on mine with laser focus. "Proud of yourself," she hissed. "Destroying your own sister." "She destroyed herself," I said calmly. "I just stopped enabling it." "You ungrateful—" "Mrs. Thompson," her lawyer interrupted. "Don't say anything that could be used against you." Patricia's face went purple. "Used against me, I'm the victim here. My daughters, my family." "Your theft victim mother says differently." I cut in. 43,000, Mom. How do you steal 43,000 from your own mother?" She actually smiled, then a cold thing that belonged on a serpent. "Your grandmother is senile. Everyone knows that. Her accusations won't hold up." The forensic accountant disagrees. So does the video of you at the ATM with her debit card. The smile faltered. "You don't know what you're talking about." Tuesday, March 15th, $2,000 withdrawal. Thursday, March 17th, $1,500. Monday, March 21st. "Stop." Her lawyer stepped between us. "We're leaving." As they walked away, Patricia turned back. "You'll regret this, Rachel. When you're alone with no family, you'll regret choosing strangers over blood." "I already have a family," I called after her. "I chose them, and they chose me back." The truth of it hit me as I said it. Ryan, Madison, Derek, who'd become an unexpected ally. Jake and Amy choosing integrity over ease. Grandmother Eleanor finally free to speak truth. Even Stephanie and the growing network of Lauren's former victims. This was family. Messy, complicated, chosen family. I picked Madison up from camp at 3:30. She raced toward me with a construction paper card clutched in her hand. "Aunt Rachel, I made this yesterday but forgot." She thrust the card at me, bouncing with excitement. Inside, in crayon and glitter, she'd written, "Thank you for keeping me safe. Love, Madison." Below was a drawing of two figures holding hands, one tall with my dark hair, one small with her blonde pigtails. "It's beautiful." I managed around the lump in my throat. "Miss Katie helped with the spelling. Do you like the purple glitter I used extra because you like purple now too?" "I love it, sweetheart." As we drove to Ryan's house, Madison chattered about her day. Normal 6-year-old concerns. Who played what at recess, why chicken nuggets were better than fish sticks, how butterflies knew which flowers to visit. No mention of jail or court or family drama. Just a little girl finally free to be little. "Aunt Rachel," she asked as we pulled into the driveway, "are you sad about Aunt Lauren?" I considered how to answer honestly but appropriately. "I'm sad about the choices she made, but I'm happy you're safe." "Me too. Daddy says sometimes people we love make bad choices, and we can be sad about that but still protect ourselves." "Your daddy's very smart." "He says you're smart too, and brave, like the butterfly who broke out even though it was hard." Ryan met us at the door, his meeting with Marcus having gone well. Full custody paperwork will be filed by Friday. Lauren's criminal trial won't affect the civil case. Judge Harrison made the custody ruling independent of the criminal charges. "What about visitation?" "Supervised only if and when she completes parenting classes and therapy. Given her bail denial, that won't be for a while." Madison ran inside to put her backpack away, leaving us on the porch. "How was the arraignment?" Ryan asked. "Awful. She's completely decompensated, made threats in open court." Marcus warned me. He's adding the threats to our documentation. He paused. "Are you okay? This can't be easy watching your sister." "She's not my sister," I said firmly. "Sisters don't do what she did. She's just someone I shared DNA with." My phone buzzed. Jake. "At the house packing. Mom showed up, tried to get in. Neighbors called the police. She's lost it, Rachel. Completely lost it." Another text from Amy. "We found journals in the attic. Lauren's from high school. You need to see these." Then Brittany. "Grandma's lawyer wants to talk to all the grandkids. Says it's important." The fractures were spreading the family earthquake, creating new fault lines with every aftershock. But somewhere in the rubble, something new was growing. Something healthier. "Want to stay for dinner?" Ryan asked. "Madison's been asking if you can teach her to make your famous spaghetti." "It's not famous. It's just spaghetti with hidden vegetables." To a 6-year-old who thinks ketchup is a vegetable that's culinary genius. I laughed, surprising myself. When had I last laughed freely without calculating how it would be used against me? "I'd love to." That evening, as Madison carefully stirred the sauce under my supervision, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years: peace. Not the exhausted peace of surviving another family gathering, but real peace. The kind that came from being valued, appreciated, safe. My phone sat silent on the counter. The family members I'd blocked could rage into the void. The ones who mattered had already reached out, already chosen sides, already begun building something better. "Is this enough cheese?" Madison asked, holding up a handful of shredded mozzarella. "Perfect, you're a natural chef." She beamed, adding the cheese with careful concentration. "Maybe when you get your purple house, I can come cook with you there too." "Anytime you want, sweetheart." Ryan caught my eye over Madison's head, mouthing, "Thank you." But he had it backwards. I was the one who should be grateful. They'd given me something I'd never had. A soft place to land, a reason to be brave, a family that built each other up instead of tearing each other down. Lauren had left me at that airport to break me one more time. Instead, she'd set me free. And in trying to use her daughter as a weapon, she'd given us both the gift of escape. The spaghetti was perfect. The dinner conversation was easy. Madison's laughter filled the kitchen like music. This was what family was supposed to feel like. And now, finally, I knew the difference. Thursday morning brought a deluge of rain that turned Denver's streets into rivers. I sat in the Airbnb's small kitchen laptop open, reading through the emails that had poured in overnight. The subject lines alone told a story of widespread damage. Lauren Thompson's lies cost me my scholarship. Your sister destroyed my marriage. I lost my job because of her rumors. Finally ready to tell my story. 27 emails from Lauren's victims across 2 decades. Janet Williams had created a Facebook group called Survivors of Lauren T., and the membership was growing hourly. My phone rang, Grace Holloway from CPS. Ms. Thompson, I'm calling to update you on our investigation. We've interviewed Madison multiple times now, and some concerning patterns have emerged. My stomach tightened. What kind of patterns? Madison has been exhibiting signs of parentification, taking on adult responsibilities far beyond her age. She knows how to order food delivery because, quote, sometimes mommy forgets to come home for dinner. She can recite her father's phone number, your number 3 neighbor's numbers, and 911 because mommy says I need to be responsible for myself. She's 6 years old, I whispered. Yes. We've also discovered through her school that Madison was absent 47 days last year. Lauren provided doctor's notes, but we've found those were forged. Madison tells us she stayed with various babysitters while her mother went on adventures. 47 days. The school was preparing to report it when Lauren provided documentation claiming Madison had a chronic illness requiring frequent appointments, all fabricated. Grace paused. There's more. We've been investigating the financial aspect, and it's extensive. Marcus had connected me with Grace, saying the CPS investigation would strengthen the custody case. But this went beyond custody. This was systematic neglect funded by fraud. Madison mentioned a special doctor who gave mommy papers for money. Grace continued. We believe Lauren was claiming disability benefits for Madison based on false diagnoses. The FBI's healthcare fraud unit is now involved. The FBI? My sister hadn't just destroyed our family. She'd built a criminal enterprise on her daughter's back. What happens now? I asked. We continue investigating. Madison is safe with her father, which is our primary concern. But Rachel, prepare yourself. This is going to get worse before it gets better. After we hung up, I sat staring at my coffee, trying to process the scale of Lauren's deceptions. The email count had climbed to 31 while I was on the phone. A knock interrupted my spiraling thoughts. Derek stood in the rain, looking exhausted. Sorry to just show up, he said, but you need to see something. He came in dripping, pulling out his laptop. Remember Lauren mentioned a storage unit once I found the key in my apartment. Must have fallen out of her purse. I went there this morning. Derek, that could be considered? I called Marcus first. Since I was on the lease as an authorized person, it's legal. But Rachel... He opened a folder of photos on his laptop. Look. The storage unit was meticulously organized, boxes labeled by year filing cabinets with color-coded folders. It looked like a serial killer's archive if serial killers targeted reputations instead of lives. This one's about you, Derek said, zooming in on a box labeled R. Thompson Ongoing. Inside were photos of me spanning years, at work, at the grocery store, on dates, printouts of my social media, copies of my employment records, medical information, even my credit report. How did she get my medical records? There's a folder labeled Dr. Melissa. Based on the dates, I think she was posing as you to get information. Identity theft. Add it to the growing list of charges. Derek clicked through more photos. Boxes for other victims. Janet Williams, Stephanie's sister, co-workers from Lauren's various jobs. Each one a carefully documented destruction. This isn't just cruelty, I said, voice shaking. This is pathological. It gets worse. Derek pulled up a photo of a whiteboard covered in Lauren's handwriting. She was planning something she called the ultimate reset. The board detailed a plan to frame me for abusing Madison, complete with fabricated evidence and coach testimony. She intended to use the false allegations to gain full custody, maximum child support, and sympathy from everyone who'd started questioning her. My hire date at my current job was circled with a note, "R making too much money. Fix this." When was this dated? 2 weeks before the Hawaii trip. Derek met my eyes. I think the airport abandonment was Plan B. This was Plan A. My phone rang, Ryan sounding shaken. "Rachel, are you somewhere secure?" "Yes, why?" "Marcus just called. Lauren made bail." How the judge denied. Different judge emergency appeal. Her lawyer argued the assault was minor first offense, strong community ties. $200,000 cash bond posted an hour ago. Who had $200,000? That's what Marcus is trying to find out. But Rachel, she's out, and the first thing she did was post on Instagram. I pulled up her account with shaking hands. The post was a photo of her and Madison from last Christmas with a caption that made my blood run cold. Temporarily separated from my angel by jealous relatives and a corrupt system. But a mother's love always wins. To those who betrayed me, I forgive, but never forget. To my baby, Mommy's coming. The comments were already pouring in. Some supportive buying her victim narrative, others calling her out with screenshots from the leaked recordings. But it was a comment from an account called Truth Seeker 2019 that made me freeze. "Check your mailbox, R, a friend." "I need to go to my apartment," I told Derek. "Absolutely not. It could be a trap." "Then we call the police to meet us there. But if someone's trying to help..." An hour later, we stood in my apartment building's lobby with Officer Martinez and her partner. My mailbox contained only one item, a manila envelope with no return address. Inside were bank statements, not Lauren's, my mother's. The deposits matched the amount stolen from grandmother Eleanor exactly. But more interesting were the withdrawals. $20,000 here, $30,000 there, all to an account labeled LT Enterprises. "Lauren had a business account?" Officer Martinez asked. I shook my head. Not that I knew of. The second page showed where the money went. Property in Costa Rica, a boat registration in Florida, investment accounts in the Caymans. Lauren hadn't just been stealing, she'd been building an escape plan. "This is evidence of money laundering," Officer Williams said. "We need to get this to the Financial Crimes Unit immediately." Derek's phone buzzed. "Unknown number," he said, then answered cautiously. "Hello." His face went pale. He put it on speaker. "Should have minded your own business," Lauren's voice cold and controlled. "But you always were weak, falling for my pathetic sister's victim act." "Lauren, you're violating..." "Shut up, I'm only calling once. Tell Rachel she has 24 hours to fix this. Call off the dogs, drop the charges, convince Ryan to be reasonable about custody, or I release everything." "Everything?" Derek asked. "Oh, didn't she tell you poor innocent Rachel has secrets too? That married professor in college, the one whose wife left him after finding those photos, ask Rachel about that." The line went dead. "What's she talking about?" Derek asked. I sank into my couch, the weight of another manipulation crushing me. Professor Williams, senior year. He said his marriage was over, that they were separated. I was 22 and stupid. When his wife found out, she blamed me publicly, called me a homewrecker in front of the entire English department. That's not... The photos were selfies I'd sent him. Nothing explicit, but intimate. Flirty. I covered my face. I found out later he'd shown them to colleagues bragging. His wife saw them during the divorce proceedings. The whole thing was humiliating. "Rachel," Officer Martinez said gently, "you were barely an adult taken advantage of by someone in power. That's not a scandal. That's a Me Too story." Lauren doesn't see it that way. She's kept those photos somehow. She'll twist it, make it look like I'm some predator who goes after married men. Use it to discredit me as a witness. "Let her try," Derek said firmly. "She's the one with fraud charges, assault charges, abandonment charges. Some 10-year-old photos of you being manipulated by a professor don't change that." My phone rang. Marcus. "We found out who posted bail," he said without preamble. Patricia mortgaged her house, the same house she bought with money stolen from Eleanor. The twisted irony of it. Stolen money used to free the thief's accomplice. There's more, Marcus continued. The prosecutor's office received a package this morning. Photos of you with what appears to be a married man and a letter claiming you're unstable, jealous of Lauren's motherhood and have a history of breaking up families. They're from college. I know. Derek already called me. Rachel, this is what we call desperation tactics. It actually helps our case. Shows Lauren's willing to victim blame and manipulate even from jail. Where is she now? Ryan's voice in the background. Unknown. She's supposed to be at her apartment, but the ankle monitor was found cut off in a gas station bathroom an hour ago. Lauren was in the wind, armed with $200,000 in stolen money and a decade of manufactured evidence against me. Security is with Madison at school, Marcus assured us. Ryan's there too. She's safe. Safe for now. But Lauren had shown she was willing to burn everything down rather than lose control. That afternoon, the investigation exploded wide open. The FBI Healthcare Fraud Unit raided Lauren's apartment, finding boxes of forged medical documents. The Financial Crimes Unit traced 67 fraudulent benefits claims across 3 states. The special doctor turned out to be a disgraced physician who sold fake diagnoses for cash, and Lauren was his best customer. She claimed Madison had everything from autism to autoimmune disorders, the lead FBI agent told us. Collected benefits from multiple agencies, often for the same fictional conditions. We're looking at federal charges carrying 20 to 30 years. 20 to 30 years. My sister hadn't just ruined lives. She'd built a criminal empire on lies and a little girl's identity. Jake and Amy arrived as the sun was setting, carrying bankers' boxes. Lauren's high school journals, Amy said. You need to read these. The entries were chilling. Detailed plans to humiliate classmates, lists of achievements that were all destructions of others, and pages about me. Always about me. One entry from our shared birthday when she turned 16 and I turned 14. R got more attention today because she won that stupid writing contest. Fix that. Told everyone she copied it from a website. She cried for hours. Victory me. Another from when I got accepted to college. R thinks she's so special with her scholarship. Already told Mom to tell family she only got in because of affirmative action. They believed it. R looked so confused at dinner. Perfect. Page after page of calculated cruelty. She'd been keeping score our entire lives, and I'd never even known we were playing. There's one more thing, Jake said quietly. He pulled out a photo, Lauren and Mom at what looked like a lawyer's office, both smiling. Look at the date. 3 days before the Hawaii trip. They were finalizing something, Jake explained. I found the business card in Mom's desk. It's a family lawyer who specializes in guardianship transfers. The ultimate reset. They'd been planning to have me declared Madison's guardian while Lauren disappeared with the stolen money. I'd be left with a traumatized child and no resources while they started fresh, somewhere tropical. But why abandon her at the airport then? Amy asked. Because I called Ryan, I realized. I ruined their plan by doing the one thing they never expected, choosing Madison's well-being over family loyalty. The investigation would continue for months, but that night we had enough. Enough evidence, enough witnesses, enough truth to ensure Madison would never be a pawn again. Lauren was out there somewhere, probably plotting her next move. Patricia was facing her own charges. The family was shattered beyond repair. But Madison was safe, and sometimes that's all that matters. My phone lit up with a text from Ryan. Madison wants to know if you can come to her school play tomorrow. She's a butterfly. Of course she was. I'll be there, I typed back. Let Lauren scheme. Let Patricia rage. Let the whole toxic family tree burn to ash. I'd be in the auditorium cheering for a little girl in purple wings, finally free to fly. Friday dawned with the kind of pristine clarity that made the mountains look painted against the sky. I'd barely slept, my mind churning through the revelations of Lauren's journals and the guardianship papers. The school play was at 2 p.m., but first there was a meeting that would change everything. Brittany had driven down from Fort Collins at dawn, arriving at the Airbnb with a laptop bag and grim determination. "I've been documenting for 3 years," she announced, setting up her computer on the kitchen table. "Audio recordings, videos, screenshots, everything." "Why?" I asked, pouring coffee with shaking hands. "Because someone had to. Because watching them destroy you was killing me. Because—" She paused, meeting my eyes. "Because when I was 15, Lauren did the same thing to me, made up a rumor about me and my history teacher. I almost got expelled. No one believed me over perfect Lauren. Another victim, another life derailed by my sister's pathology." "Show me," I said. The first video was from Thanksgiving 2 years ago. The quality was shaky, clearly filmed secretly from Brittany's phone propped against her purse, but the audio was crystal clear. Lauren's voice. "Watch this. I'm going to ask Rachel about her dating life." Mom's giggle. $20 says she tears up within 5 minutes. "You're on. Hey Rachel, how's the dating scene? Meet anyone who can tolerate you yet?" I watched my past self on screen shoulders, hunching, smile, faltering. "It's fine. Just focusing on work right now." "Of course you are. Work doesn't require social skills." Lauren's laugh was poison honey. Remember when she thought that guy from accounting was interested? Turned out he just needed help with Excel. The camera caught my face crumbling while the family laughed. I remembered that day. I'd cried in the bathroom, wondering why I could never say the right thing. "I'm so sorry," Brittany whispered. "I should have said something." "You were protecting yourself," I said. "I understand." The next recording was worse. Christmas dinner, Lauren holding court about her motherhood struggles while Madison played alone in the corner. "Being a single mom is so hard." Lauren sighed dramatically. "Rachel wouldn't understand. She can barely take care of herself, let alone a child." "Some people aren't meant to be mothers," Patricia added, looking directly at me. "It's better they know their limitations." In the video, Madison approached me with a toy, asking quietly if I'd play. Lauren's voice cut sharp. "Madison, leave Aunt Rachel alone. She doesn't like children." "But she reads me stories." "Only because she has to. Come here." The look of hurt on little Madison's face as she was pulled away from me was heartbreaking. Even then, they were poisoning her against anyone who might show her genuine affection. "This one's from last month," Brittany said, queuing up an audio file. "The pre-vacation dinner you weren't invited to. The planning session for my abandonment. Every detail discussed like a military operation. Mom suggesting the airport security delay. Lauren calculating exactly when to cancel my ticket. Jake weakly protesting before being shut down. Even the $200 was debated. Too little would seem insulting, too much might make me suspicious. The best part, Lauren's recorded voice said, is she'll thank us afterward. She always does. Remember when we convinced her she'd lost Grandma's ring? She apologized for months, even after I found it in my jewelry box. I didn't remember losing any ring, because I hadn't. Another gaslight, another manipulation I'd internalized as my own failure. Brittany had 37 files, hours of systematic abuse disguised as family gatherings. But the most damning came from a video she'd taken just last week after the arrest. Patricia speaking to someone off camera, "This is temporary. Lauren's too smart to stay in jail. We just need to discredit Rachel and that pathetic ex-husband. I've already started spreading rumors at the country club. By the time this goes to trial, everyone will know Rachel's a jealous spinster who seduced her sister's boyfriend to steal her child." "What about the evidence?" the other voice asked. "Evidence can be explained away. Public opinion can't. We destroy Rachel's reputation and no jury will believe her." I was about to respond when my phone rang. Ryan, breathless with panic. She was here, Lauren, at the school. "What, how?" "She didn't try to get in, just stood at the fence during recess watching. Madison saw her and completely shut down. Won't speak, won't move. The counselor has her now." "I'm on my way." Brittany drove while I called Marcus. By the time we reached the elementary school, police cars surrounded the building. Parents clustered in worried groups while staff tried to maintain order. Inside the counselor's office, Madison sat curled in a ball on the couch, Ryan beside her. She wasn't crying. Somehow that was worse. Just staring at nothing with glassy eyes. "Hey, sweetheart," I said softly, kneeling in front of her. Her eyes focused slightly. "Is Mommy going to take me?" "No, baby, you're safe. Daddy and I won't let anyone take you." She looked mad, like when she used to leave me places. Her voice was tiny, ancient. "I don't want to go to Mrs. Pat's again." "You'll never have to, I promise." The counselor, Mrs. Evans, pulled us aside. "She's dissociating. It's a trauma response. Has she shown signs of this before?" Ryan's face was grim. After particularly bad weekends with her mother, yes, she'd go quiet for hours. "I recommend immediate therapy. This level of fear response in a 6-year-old, Mrs. Evans shook her head. "Whatever she's experienced, it's left deep scars." The school play was canceled. Instead, we spent the afternoon at the child psychologist Marcus recommended. Dr. Patricia Sung was gentle but thorough, using play therapy to help Madison express what words couldn't. While Madison built towers and knocked them down, Dr. Sung observed, "She's recreating scenarios of instability and abandonment. See how she always puts the small doll outside the house? That's herself locked out." "Can you help her?" Ryan asked desperately. "Yes, but it will take time, and she needs absolute stability. Any contact with her mother right now could cause serious psychological damage." Meanwhile, Brittany had taken her recordings to the prosecutor. Within hours, they had enough evidence to upgrade charges against both Lauren and Patricia. The conspiracy to commit fraud, the planned guardianship transfer, the years of documented abuse. It painted a picture of criminal enterprise that shocked even the seasoned investigators. That evening, as I helped Ryan cook dinner while Madison colored quietly at the table, Derek arrived with more news. They found her, Lauren, trying to board a private jet to Costa Rica. "How?" "The boat she bought in Florida. The seller reported it when he saw the news. Coast Guard tracked her to a marina in Miami. She'd hired someone to sail her to international waters, then fly from there." "But they caught her." "Airport security in Miami. She dyed her hair, had fake documents, the works. But they were looking for her." Derek showed us a news article on his phone. "It's already breaking. Denver mom flees country after fraud charges." The mugshot showed a different Lauren. Gone was the polished suburban mom. This woman looked feral, desperate, caught. Her eyes held the kind of rage that came from a narcissist facing consequences for the first time. "What happens now?" I asked. "Federal charges for flight to avoid prosecution. Add that to everything else." Derek shrugged. "She's looking at decades." Madison looked up from her coloring. "Is Mommy going away?" We all froze. How do you explain to a 6-year-old that her mother is a criminal? "Yes, sweetie," Ryan said carefully. "Mommy made some bad choices and has to face consequences. Like a really long time out." "Something like that." Madison considered this, then returned to her coloring. "Good. I don't want her to find me." The simple statement broke my heart. No child should be relieved their parent is imprisoned. Later that night, after Madison was asleep, the adults gathered in Ryan's living room. Brittany had been contacted by the FBI. Her recordings were evidence in a federal case now. "There's something else," she said quietly. "I recorded Patricia trying to hire someone." "Hire someone for what?" She pulled up an audio file. Patricia's voice speaking to an unknown man. "I need dirt on Rachel Thompson. Real or manufactured, I don't care. She's trying to steal my granddaughter, whatever it costs." "When was this?" Marcus asked. "Yesterday, after Lauren made bail." "That's witness intimidation," Marcus said immediately. "We need to report this tonight." As if on cue, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Miss Thompson, this is Agent Sarah Chen with the FBI. We need to talk to you about your mother's activities. Can you come to the field office tomorrow?" The investigation had expanded beyond Lauren. Patricia was now a target, too. That night, I lay on Ryan's couch. He'd insisted I stay after the school incident, listening to Madison whimpering in her sleep down the hall. Even unconscious, she couldn't escape the trauma her mother had inflicted. My phone showed 53 unread messages. The family group chat Jake had created was exploding with cousins sharing their own stories of abuse. Uncle Robert had hired a lawyer to recover his stolen money. Aunt Helen was flying in to support grandmother Eleanor's case. The empire of manipulation Lauren and Patricia had built was crumbling, and they were taking everyone down with them. But in the morning, Madison woke up and asked for purple pancakes. She smiled when I added extra chocolate chips. She laughed when Ryan made silly voices for her stuffed animals. She was healing, slowly, painfully, but healing. The recordings Brittany had risked so much to capture would ensure Lauren never heard her again. The truth was finally louder than the lies. And sometimes that's the only justice we get. Saturday morning arrived with an unseasonable chill that had everyone reaching for jackets in July. I sat in the FBI field office in downtown Denver, Agent Chen, across from me, while a court reporter documented every word. The walls were government beige, the coffee was government terrible, and the truth spilling out was uglier than any government form could capture. "Your mother hired a private investigator 3 weeks ago," Agent Chen said, sliding surveillance photos across the table. "These were taken outside your apartment, your workplace, and Mr. Torres's home. The images showed a nondescript man photographing me getting mail leaving work picking up Madison from camp. My skin crawled, realizing I'd been watched." "But that's not the concerning part," Agent Chen continued. "The PI contacted us yesterday. He was uncomfortable with your mother's requests." She played a recording, Patricia's voice colder than I'd ever heard it. "I don't care what you have to do. Plant evidence if necessary. I need Rachel discredited before the trial. She's always been weak. Find her breaking point and document it." "The PI refused and came to us," Agent Chen explained. "He's cooperating fully. Your mother offered him $50,000 to manufacture evidence against you. $50,000, while claiming poverty at Lauren's bail hearing. Where would she get that kind of money?" I asked. "We believe she has additional accounts we haven't found yet. Money stolen from your grandmother over years hidden in various investments." Agent Chen pulled out more documents. "We've traced 16 separate accounts so far, totaling approximately $300,000. $300,000, while my grandmother lived modestly in assisted living, believing her savings were gone. "We need your help," Agent Chen said. "You know your mother's patterns, her connections. Help us find the rest." I spent 4 hours detailing every financial conversation I'd witnessed, every suspicious transaction I'd questioned, every time Mom had cried poverty while wearing new jewelry. The scope of the theft was staggering, not just from grandmother Eleanor, but from Uncle Robert, Aunt Helen, even small amounts from cousins who'd trusted her with investments. "She's been running a family Ponzi scheme," Agent Chen concluded. "Taking from one relative to pay another, skimming off the top, keeping everyone too ashamed to compare notes." While I was at the FBI office, Ryan texted updates. Madison's therapy session had gone well. She'd drawn a picture of herself inside a castle with Ryan and me protecting the walls. The therapist said it showed she was beginning to feel secure. But then Lauren's lawyer filed an emergency motion, claiming parental alienation, hearing set for Monday. Even from federal custody, she was still fighting for control. Marcus met me outside the federal building looking exhausted but determined. "The emergency motion is garbage, but we need to respond. She's claiming the arrest was staged to traumatize Madison and turn her against her mother. Staged, she assaulted a police officer." "I know, but her new lawyer, not the nervous public defender, someone expensive, is arguing everything was orchestrated by you and Ryan. They're painting you as masterminds who planned this for months." "Who's paying for the expensive lawyer?" "That's what we need to find out." We drove to Marcus's office where Derek was already waiting with more revelations. He'd been going through Lauren's computer files, finding a treasure trove of criminal evidence. She had spreadsheets, Derek said, pulling up files, tracking every benefits payment, every forged document, every con. She was proud of it, Marcus, kept meticulous records like it was a business. The spreadsheets showed years of fraud, disability claims for Madison across multiple states, benefits collected for conditions Madison never had, charitable donations solicited through fake sob stories, even a GoFundMe for Madison's cancer treatment that raised $23,000. Madison never had cancer, I said, feeling sick. No, but Lauren had photos of her at the hospital. Turns out she was taking her to the ER for fake emergencies to get documentation. Derek's voice was hollow. She put that baby through unnecessary medical procedures for paperwork. The scope of the abuse kept expanding. Every revelation showed new depths of depravity, new ways Lauren had exploited her own child. Jake and Amy arrived with the last of Lauren's journals from the attic. The recent ones were worse than the high school entries, detailed plans for destroying anyone who crossed her, including me. One entry from 6 months ago, R got another promotion, time to activate the nuclear option. Already laid groundwork with Mom about R's mental health issues. Few more months of gaslighting and we can have her committed. Then Madison's trust fund goes to next of kin, me. What trust fund? I asked. Jake looked grim. Turns out Grandpa didn't just leave us $50,000 each. He left a separate trust for his great-grandchildren. Madison has $100,000 Lauren's been trying to access. Another financial motive. Another reason she'd never willingly give up custody. That evening we gathered at Ryan's house for what felt like a war council. Brittany had driven down again with more recordings. Stephanie brought correspondence between Lauren and various marks. Even Jake's wife, Amy, had been investigating finding Lauren's hidden social media accounts where she bragged about her cons to online communities of fellow fraudsters. She had a mentor. Amy explained, showing us screenshots. Someone teaching her advanced fraud techniques. They call it lifestyle funding, using children as financial assets. Madison was at a sleepover with her best friend, the first normalcy she'd had in weeks. It felt strange planning legal strategy in her absence, but also right. She deserved one night of just being a kid. Monday's hearing is crucial, Marcus explained. If Lauren's lawyer can create any doubt about our motivations, it could complicate the criminal case. What do they need to prove? Ryan asked. That you and Rachel conspired to steal Madison, that the airport incident was planned, that you've been turning Madison against her mother deliberately. That's insane, I protested. Of course it is, but Lauren's new lawyer is sharp. He'll twist everything. Marcus turned to Brittany. Your recordings are our ace. They show the real conspiracy was Lauren and Patricia against Rachel. We spent hours preparing testimony, organizing evidence, creating timelines that proved the airport abandonment was Lauren's plan, not ours. By midnight, we had boxes of documentation ready. Sunday was supposed to be peaceful, but Patricia had other plans. She showed up at grandmother Eleanor's facility, violating the restraining order, trying to convince her mother to drop the charges. She said I was confused. Eleanor told me over the phone, voice shaking with anger, that I'd forgotten lending her the money. When I showed her the forensic accounting report, she tried to grab it. Security had to escort her out. Another violation. Another charge. Patricia was spiraling just like Lauren, unable to accept that their victims were fighting back. That afternoon, I finally visited my apartment to get more clothes. Sarah came with me for safety, but the place felt violated. Knowing someone had been photographing me here, that Lauren had detailed plans to destroy me within these walls, it no longer felt like home. You could stay with me, Sarah offered as I packed. My spare room's not much, but it's safe. Thanks, but I think I need to find somewhere new, somewhere Lauren's never been. As if summoned by her name, my phone rang. Unknown number with a Florida area code. Against my better judgment, I answered. You think you've won? Lauren's voice was different, flat, cold. "You have no idea what I'm capable of. Enjoy playing mommy while you can. It won't last." "Lauren, you're violating—" "I've been violating things my whole life, sister dear. Rules, laws, people. But you were my masterpiece. 32 years of breaking you down, building you up just enough to break you again. And you finally fought back. I'm almost proud." "This call is being recorded," I said, hitting the record button on my phone. She laughed. "Good. Record this too. I will get out. I will get Madison. And when I do, you'll wish you'd just watched her at the airport like a good little puppet." "Why?" The question escaped before I could stop it. "Why did you hate me so much?" Silence. Then, "Because you existed. Because Mom loved you for 5 minutes before I was born. Because you had potential I had to destroy before it made me look ordinary." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Because breaking you was the only time I felt alive." The line went dead. I stood in my violated apartment holding my phone, finally understanding. There was no fixing this. No therapy that would make Lauren safe. No amount of love that would fill the void where her soul should be. She was a predator, and Madison had been her preferred prey until I'd interfered. Monday morning came too soon. The courthouse was packed. Apparently someone had leaked that this was connected to the viral airport abandonment case. Reporters crowded the steps while security tried to maintain order. Inside, Lauren appeared via video link from federal custody. Orange was still her color, but she'd managed to style her hair and apply makeup. She looked every inch the persecuted mother her lawyer would portray. But she hadn't counted on Brittany's recordings. One by one, we played them. Lauren planning the abandonment, calling Madison a meal ticket, discussing the fraud schemes, bragging about destroying me. The judge's expression grew stonier with each piece of evidence. "Your Honor," Lauren's lawyer argued, "these recordings were obtained without my client's consent. They're inadmissible." "Colorado is a one-party consent state," Marcus countered. "Ms. Brittany Thompson was present for all recordings, making them perfectly legal." Additionally, the prosecutor added, "They corroborate the evidence found in Ms. Thompson's storage unit computer files and personal journals. The conspiracy is well documented." Lauren watched from the screen, her mask finally slipping as recording after recording played. The moment she realized we had everything, years of her own words condemning her, was almost worth the decades of pain. "I've heard enough," the judge finally said. "Not only do I find no evidence of parental alienation by Mr. Torres or Ms. Rachel Thompson, I find substantial evidence of a pattern of abuse, neglect, and exploitation by Ms. Lauren Thompson. The existing custody order stands. Furthermore, I'm recommending additional charges be filed based on the evidence presented today." "No." Lauren's scream through the video link was primal. "You can't take her. She's mine. I made her. She belongs to me." The judge terminated the video connection, but her screams echoed in the sudden silence. Outside the courthouse, reporters shouted questions, but I only had eyes for Ryan, who was reading a text with tears streaming down his face. "What is it?" I asked, fearing the worst. He showed me the phone, a message from Madison's friend's mother. "She just asked if she could call you Aunt Rachel at school. Said you're her real family now. Thought you should know." Real family. As we drove away from the courthouse, leaving Lauren to rage in her cage and Patricia to face her own legal reckoning, I thought about Madison's butterfly drawing, how she'd painted me with wings finally free. The legal system would handle the crimes. The therapy would handle the trauma. But the healing that came from a 6-year-old choosing to claim me as family, not because blood demanded it, but because love earned it. The reckoning was far from over. There would be more hearings, trials, testimonies. Lauren would scheme from prison. Patricia would play victim until the end. But Madison was safe. She was loved. She was free. And so, finally, was I. The criminal trial began on a Tuesday that felt more like autumn than summer, with golden leaves already kissing the courthouse steps. 2 months had passed since Lauren's arrest, 2 months of legal preparation and emotional recovery. Madison had started second grade with a new therapist, a new routine, and slowly blooming confidence. But today, all of Denver would hear the truth about Lauren Thompson. The courtroom was packed. Media coverage had turned the case into a sensation. Mommy Dearest meets Mile High City, one particularly tasteless headline read. But beyond the sensationalism was real interest in how a mother could systematically exploit her own child for profit. I sat in the witness section with Ryan, Derek, Brittany, and surprisingly Jake and Amy, who'd flown in from Texas to testify. Even Stephanie was there, having become an unexpected ally in seeking justice. Lauren entered in shackles, her appearance drastically changed. The polished suburban mom was gone, replaced by someone harder, angrier. Prison had stripped away her masks, leaving only the predator beneath. The prosecutor, ADA Michelle Santos, was a force of nature. In her opening statement, she laid out the scope of Lauren's crimes with surgical precision. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the defendant didn't just commit fraud. She weaponized her own child. She turned motherhood into a criminal enterprise, collecting over $400,000 through false claims, while subjecting her daughter to medical procedures she didn't need, abandoning her with strangers, and teaching her that love comes with a price tag. The defense attorney, Marcus Webb, tried to paint Lauren as a struggling single mother who made desperate choices, but even he seemed to struggle with his client's actions as the evidence mounted. The first week was financial. FBI forensic accountants detailed the web of fraud: 67 false benefit claims across 5 states, forged medical documents, fake charities. The GoFundMe for Madison's non-existent cancer was particularly damning. She posted updates about her daughter's brave fight, the forensic accountant testified, complete with photos from unnecessary ER visits she'd orchestrated. Donors sent prayers and money for a disease that existed only in the defendant's imagination. But it was the medical testimony that broke hearts. Dr. Jennifer Martinez, a pediatric specialist, had reviewed Madison's medical history. This child was subjected to 43 unnecessary medical procedures over 4 years. She testified. Blood draws, scans, even a spinal tap, all for conditions she didn't have. The defendant would present at different hospitals with different symptoms, doctor shopping, until someone would perform the test she needed for documentation. What effect would this have on a child? Ada Santos asked. Severe medical trauma, fear of doctors, anxiety, potentially lifelong trust issues. This child learned that feeling well meant something was wrong because her mother needed her to be sick. The courtroom was silent except for the court reporter's keys and muffled crying from the gallery. Derek testified on day 3. He was calm, methodical, playing recording after recording. Lauren's voice filled the courtroom, calling Madison a meal ticket, discussing fraud techniques, planning my destruction. When did you realize the extent of the defendant's actions? Santos asked. When Madison begged me not to tell her mother she'd had a nightmare about wanting to live with her dad, a 6-year-old terrified of wanting her father. That's when I started recording everything. And what made you come forward? Derek looked directly at Lauren. Because someone had to protect Madison. Her mother wasn't going to. Lauren's expression was murderous, but she stayed silent on the advice of counsel. The character witnesses painted a pattern spanning decades. Janet Williams from high school, 3 former co-workers whose careers Lauren had sabotaged, a neighbor whose daughter Lauren had tried to frame for theft. She was systematic, one testified. She'd identify your weakness, exploit it, then gaslight you into thinking you were crazy for suspecting her. Then came my turn. I'd testified in the family court hearings, but criminal court was different. More formal, more final. I wore the blue suit I'd bought for a presentation I never gave. Lauren had called my office that morning, claiming a family emergency, making me miss it. State your name for the record. Rachel Marie Thompson. And your relationship to the defendant. I looked at Lauren. She smiled, that cold predator's smile I now recognized had been there all along. She's my biological sister, nothing more. Ada Santos walked me through 32 years of systematic abuse, the stolen Columbia acceptance, the sabotaged promotion, the Christmas gifts hidden while I was gaslit into believing I'd forgotten them. But all of that pales compared to what she did to Madison. I said, my voice steady despite the tears. She turned a beautiful, innocent child into a commodity, taught her that love was transactional, abandoned her with strangers while collecting checks in her name. Objection, Webb called. Witness is testifying to facts not in evidence. Sustained as to the characterization. Jury will disregard the opinion about love being transactional. But the jury had heard it, and their faces showed they agreed. Ms. Thompson, Santos continued, tell us about the airport incident. I detailed that morning. The planned abandonment, the canceled ticket, the note treating Madison like an inconvenience worth $200. The courtroom was riveted. And when you found the defendant's records in the storage unit, what did you discover? Boxes documenting decades of, I don't even know what to call it, revenge entertainment. She had photos of every person she'd hurt, records of every lie, every scheme, and a box labeled R. Thompson, ongoing. What was in your box? I took a breath. 32 years of surveillance. Photos, documents, plans to destroy every good thing in my life. She had my college acceptance letter, the one she stole, my promotion evaluation that she sabotaged, even love letters from relationships she'd ruined. My voice cracked. My entire life was her game. Objection. Webb stood, prejudicial and inflammatory. Overruled. The witness is describing evidence found in the defendant's possession. Lauren leaned forward then, and for just a moment her mask slipped completely. The hatred in her eyes was so pure, so absolute that several jurors recoiled. The prosecutor showed the jury selections from my box, photos of me crying at family gatherings, transcripts of calls to my employer spreading lies, the Columbia letter with destroyed written across it in Lauren's handwriting. Why? Santos asked simply. Why did she target you so relentlessly? Because I existed, I said, echoing Lauren's own words from that phone call. Because I had potential she needed to destroy. Because breaking me made her feel powerful. The cross-examination was brutal. Webb tried to paint me as jealous, unstable, vengeful. But Brittany's recordings had already played. The jury had heard Lauren's own voice describing her crimes. His attacks fell flat against the evidence. Isn't it true you've always been jealous of my client's beauty, her success, her motherhood? No, I've been afraid of her. There's a difference. You expect this jury to believe you were afraid of your own sister. I expect the jury to listen to the recordings where she detailed plans to have me committed to steal my inheritance, where she laughed about making me cry, where she called her daughter a meal ticket. I met his eyes steadily. Fear was the only rational response. Patricia testified later that week trying to salvage her daughter's reputation, but the prosecutor was ready. Mrs. Thompson, are you currently facing charges for theft and fraud? I don't see how that's relevant. It's relevant because you stole $43,000 from your own mother while claiming she was senile, just as your daughter stole Madison's childhood while claiming to be a devoted mother. Objection. Sustained. Jury will disregard the comparison. But again, the damage was done. Patricia's credibility crumbled as Santos presented evidence of her own crimes, her participation in Lauren's schemes, the recordings of her planning my destruction alongside her daughter. You raised a criminal, Santos said flatly. And when she got caught, you mortgaged a house bought with stolen money to bail her out. That's not mother's love. That's criminal conspiracy. Ryan testified about finding Madison abandoned with strangers, the medical trauma, the therapy sessions, where she'd finally begun revealing the extent of her fear. She asked me if jail was like a timeout for grown-ups. He said, voice-breaking. I said, yes. She said, good. Mommy needs a really long time out to think about her bad choices. Even at 6, she understood her mother needed to be stopped. The most damning testimony came from someone unexpected, the special doctor who'd provided fake diagnoses. He'd made a deal with prosecutors, and his testimony was devastating. Ms. Thompson was my best client, he admitted. She knew exactly what documentation each agency required. She'd coach the child on symptoms, even give her ipecac to make her vomit before ER visits. She made her own child sick regularly. Said a little suffering now meant financial security later. He looked at Lauren with disgust. I've done terrible things, but even I had limits. When she asked me to document injuries that would suggest abuse by the father, I refused. That's when she threatened to expose my operation. The gallery gasped. Lauren had been willing to frame Ryan for abuse to secure full custody and more benefits. Madison never testified. The judge ruled her too young, too traumatized. Instead, her words came through her therapist teachers and the forensic interviewer who'd worked with her. She told me, Mommy loves money more than me, the interviewer testified. When I asked how she knew, she said, because she told people I was her meal ticket. I don't know what that means, but it's not what mommies call their babies. The defense's case was thin. Character witnesses who hadn't seen Lauren in years. A psychologist who tried to claim she had a personality disorder that diminished her responsibility, which backfired when the prosecution's expert explained that antisocial personality disorder didn't excuse criminal behavior, just explained it. Lauren took the stand on the final day. It was a disaster. She tried to cry, but no tears came. She tried to explain, but every justification made her sound worse. When shown the recordings, she claimed they were edited. When presented with her own journals, she said I'd planted them. Everyone's against me. She said the victim narrative worn thin. They're jealous of what I built. What you built? Santos asked during cross. You mean the criminal enterprise funded by your daughter's suffering? I mean my successful life that my bitter sister couldn't stand. The life funded by fraud, alleged fraud. Santos smiled coldly. Let's talk about those allegations. She pulled up exhibit after exhibit, forged documents in Lauren's handwriting, banking records showing deposits from fraudulent claims, photos from the storage unit. With each piece of evidence, Lauren's composure cracked further. By the time Santos showed the jury Lauren's trophy book, the detailed records of every life she'd destroyed, the mask was completely gone. You documented your crimes like achievements, Santos said. Why? Because I'm smarter than all of you, Lauren exploded. Because I could manipulate anyone, make them believe anything. Because stupid people deserve what they get. Her lawyer's head dropped into his hands. So you admit to the frauds. I admit to being better at the game than anyone else. The game of defrauding the government, of medically abusing your child, of destroying your sister's life. Lauren's smile was pure malice, especially that last one. The jury deliberated for less than 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. As the verdict was read, Lauren stared at me with hatred so intense it felt like a physical force. But behind it, for just a moment, I saw something else shock. She truly believed she'd get away with it, that her manipulations would work even here. The sentencing would come later, but the prosecutor told us she was facing 30 to 40 years, based on the federal charges alone. As we left the courthouse, Madison was at home making cookies with Ryan's neighbor, blissfully unaware that her mother had just been convicted of 43 criminal counts. The media surrounded us, but I had only one statement. A 6-year-old girl is safe tonight. That's all that matters. But it wasn't all. The truth had finally been revealed in all its ugly glory. Lauren Thompson wasn't a struggling single mother or a victim of circumstance. She was a predator who'd used her own child as a weapon and an ATM. The city of Denver knew it. The jury knew it. Most importantly, the little girl making purple frosted cookies finally knew it wasn't her fault. Sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. Sometimes it just validates what you've always known, that the monster under your bed was real, and she called herself your sister. But monsters can be caged, and little girls can learn to sleep peacefully, knowing the locks are strong and the people who love them stand guard. The truth was out. Now the healing could really begin. October arrived with golden aspens and the kind of crisp air that made Denver feel like a fresh start. 3 weeks had passed since Lauren's conviction, 3 weeks of something I'd never experienced before: peace. Real, actual peace, not the exhausted calm between family storms. I stood in the empty living room of my new apartment boxes stacked against freshly painted walls. Lavender in the bedroom because Madison had insisted purple makes everything better. She was right. After 32 years of being told my preferences were wrong, painting walls the exact shade I wanted felt like revolution. "Where do you want this?" Ryan asked, carrying in a box labeled Kitchen Fragile. "Counter's fine, thanks for helping." Madison would never forgive me if I didn't help Aunt Rachel move into the purple house. He set the box down carefully. "She's made you approximately 17 housewarming gifts. Fair warning." The apartment was small but perfect. A 1-bedroom in Jefferson Park with mountain views and, crucially, security that required multiple access codes. After everything, safety trumped square footage. My phone buzzed. Dr. Sung, Madison's therapist. "Wonderful session today. She drew her family. You're officially in the center with her and Ryan. No mention of Lauren for the first time." Progress. Slow sometimes, painful, but real progress. Jake and Amy had visited last weekend with their boys and new baby girl. Watching my brother actively choose to break the cycle of toxicity gave me hope. He'd started therapy himself, working through years of complicity and learned behaviors. "I keep thinking about all the times I laughed along," he'd told me over coffee. Every cruel joke, every manipulation I witnessed. I was so focused on not being the target that I became an accomplice. "We all did what we had to do to survive," I'd replied. "The important thing is what we do now." Amy had been firmer. "We're teaching our kids that family means supporting each other, not tearing each other down. They'll never experience what you did, Rachel. Never." My own therapy had started 2 weeks after the trial. Dr. Jennifer Reeves specialized in complex family trauma and hadn't blinked when I'd explained 32 years of systematic abuse. "You're not crazy," she'd said in our first session, and I'd burst into tears. "Your responses were normal reactions to abnormal treatment. The hypervigilance, the people-pleasing, the inability to trust your own perceptions. That's what psychological abuse does. But you survived. And more importantly, you saved Madison from the same fate." The work was hard. Unlearning decades of programmed responses, learning to recognize gaslighting, practicing setting boundaries without guilt. Some days I'd catch myself apologizing for existing and have to consciously stop. "Healing isn't linear," Dr. Reeves reminded me weekly. "There will be setbacks. That's normal." The setbacks came in unexpected ways. A stranger's laugh that sounded like Lauren's. A blonde woman at the grocery store who made my heart race until I realized it wasn't her. The automatic flinch when someone complimented me, waiting for the cruel punchline. But there were breakthroughs too. The first time I disagreed with someone without apologizing. The day I wore a bright red dress because I liked it, not caring if it drew too much attention. The morning I looked in the mirror and didn't hear my mother's voice cataloging my flaws. Madison's progress was even more remarkable. The silent, terrified child from the airport had transformed into a chattering, giggling 7-year-old who painted butterflies on everything and insisted on teaching me her special pancake recipe, which was just regular pancakes with food coloring and sprinkles. But I'd take that secret to my grave. "Aunt Rachel, look." She'd squealed last week, showing me a school project. "I wrote about my hero, and it's you." The crayon drawing showed a figure with dark hair and a purple cape, standing between a small blonde girl and a scary scribble labeled "Bad Things." "My aunt saved me from being sad," her careful printing read. "She made sure I was safe with Daddy. Heroes don't always wear capes, but I drew one anyway because it's cool." Ryan had found me crying over that paper for 20 minutes. The legal proceedings continued in the background. Lauren had been sentenced to 37 years federal, with state charges still pending. Patricia got 5 years for fraud and theft, though her lawyer was appealing. The family money was slowly being recovered and returned to its rightful owners. Grandmother Eleanor had moved to a better facility one Patricia couldn't access. I visited her weekly, and we were slowly building the relationship my mother had sabotaged. "I should have protected you," she'd say each visit. "We protected Madison," I'd reply. "That's what matters now." Derek had become an unexpected friend. He was in therapy too, processing his own trauma from the relationship. We met for coffee, occasionally bonded by the unique experience of surviving Lauren's manipulation. "I keep finding things," he'd told me last week. Hidden recordings of me sleeping, notes about my vulnerabilities. She was building a destruction file on me too. "But she didn't get to use it," I'd reminded him. "You got out." My career had exploded in positive ways. The promotion I'd lost to sabotage had been reconsidered when HR learned the truth. My boss, horrified by what I'd endured, had fast-tracked me for leadership training. "We had no idea," she'd said. "You always seemed so put together, so capable. We never imagined you were dealing with this level of personal terrorism." That's what Dr. Reeves called it, personal terrorism, the systematic campaign to destroy another person's sense of self. It had a name, and naming it helped. The survivors group, Janet Williams' Facebook community, had grown to over 200 members. Lauren's victims spanning 20 years finally sharing their stories, finding validation in shared experiences. Some were pursuing legal action, others just needed to be heard. She told everyone I was stalking her, one woman wrote. "I lost friends, had to change jobs. For 15 years, I believed I was the crazy one. She convinced my husband I was having an affair. We divorced. I found out last month she was the one sleeping with him." Story after story of calculated cruelty, but also story after story of survival, recovery, rebuilding. My new apartment slowly took shape. Furniture I'd chosen without committee input. Art that made me happy without justification. A kitchen stocked with foods I actually enjoyed, not the things I'd bought to avoid criticism. Madison's artwork covered my refrigerator. Butterflies, rainbows, and increasingly pictures of the three of us, her Ryan and me, doing normal things. Going to the park, making dinner, reading stories. "This one's us at Christmas," she'd explained about her latest creation. "See, we're decorating the tree and everyone's smiling and nobody's crying." The fact that a 7-year-old specified "nobody's crying" as a Christmas victory broke my heart. But we were building new traditions, ones where tears meant joy, not manipulation. Ryan and I had developed an easy co-parenting rhythm. I picked Madison up from school Tuesdays, and Thursdays kept her overnight Fridays, when Ryan had his veterans group. We did homework together, made dinner, had movie nights where she always fell asleep halfway through. "You know you don't have to do this," Ryan had said one evening as I helped Madison with her math worksheet. "I want to," I'd replied simply, and it was true. The little girl who'd once been a burden dumped on me at an airport had become the brightest part of my week. My phone rang, interrupting my unpacking. Stephanie, breathless with news. "Did you see Channel 9 is doing an expose on family fraud? They want to interview us." "I don't know." "Rachel, your story could help other victims recognize abuse. Think about it." I did think about it. All afternoon as I unpacked boxes containing a life finally free from Lauren's shadow. By evening, I'd decided. "I'll do it," I texted Stephanie. "Not for revenge, for the next woman who's been told she's crazy for suspecting her sister is evil." That night, I cooked dinner in my new kitchen. My grandmother's pasta recipe that Patricia had always criticized but never could replicate. The windows were open, letting in the crisp fall air. Music played softly, something I'd chosen because I liked it. My phone showed 0 missed calls from toxic family members. The only messages were from chosen family. Ryan confirming Friday pickup, Jake sending photos of the baby Brittany, asking about coffee next week. For the first time in 32 years, I sat down to eat without calculating who might criticize my portion, size, my table manners, my existence. The pasta was perfect. The silence was golden. The freedom was intoxicating. Healing wasn't complete. Maybe it never would be. The scars from 3 decades of abuse don't vanish with a verdict and a new apartment. But I was learning to see them as proof of survival, not evidence of weakness. Madison had the right idea with her butterflies. The struggle to break free from the cocoon was painful, necessary, transforming. And on the other side, wings spread wide in the Colorado sunset, I finally understood what it meant to fly. The healing had begun, and unlike Lauren's manufactured drama, this was real, messy, imperfect, and absolutely beautiful. Tomorrow, Madison would help me hang curtains in the purple bedroom. We'd probably make a mess and eat too much ice cream and laugh at nothing in particular. Normal things, healing things. Things that proved the best revenge wasn't revenge at all. It was simply living well, loving freely, and teaching a little girl that families were meant to be safe harbors, not war zones. The war was over. The rebuilding had begun. And for the first time in my life, I was home. 1 year later, I stood in the same Terminal C at Denver International Airport where my life had shattered and reformed. But this time, everything was different. Madison's hand was warm in mine by choice, not manipulation. Ryan stood beside us checking our boarding passes with the easy confidence of someone who'd taught hundreds to fly. Flight 447 to Honolulu, now boarding families with small children, the gate agent announced. Madison bounced on her toes, her purple carry-on backpack jingling with carefully packed treasures. That's us. We're a family with a small child. That's me. Ryan and I exchanged amused glances. In the past year, we'd become something indefinable, not romantic, but far more than co-parents. Trauma-bonded family, Dr. Reeves called it. Whatever the label, it worked. Remember what we practiced? I asked Madison. What do we do if you feel scared on the plane? Deep breaths count to 5 and remember that Daddy knows how to fly planes, so we're extra safe, she recited. Plus, I have Mr. Elephant and my special bracelet Aunt Rachel gave me. The bracelet was simple. Purple beads she'd picked out herself with a small butterfly charm, but it represented so much more choice, safety, love, given freely without strings. As we boarded, I couldn't help but think about the last time I'd tried to take this flight. The crushing disappointment, the betrayal, the $200 meant to buy my silence. Now my bank account held the inheritance grandmother Eleanor had protected for me, plus savings from my promotion. I'd paid for all 3 tickets, insisting it was my treat. "You sure about this?" Ryan had asked when I'd first suggested the trip. "Same hotel and everything." "Absolutely. I'm not letting Lauren steal Hawaii from me forever." The flight was smooth. Madison colored and chattered free from the anxiety that had once paralyzed her in public spaces. She'd bloomed in the year since Lauren's imprisonment. Therapy twice a week had become once a month, nightmares had faded, and the hypervigilance had mellowed into normal childhood caution. "Look, Aunt Rachel, the clouds look like butterflies." Everything looked like butterflies to Madison these days. Her therapist said it was her brain's way of processing transformation. I like to think it was her way of claiming beauty in a world that had once held only fear. The hotel in Maui was exactly as I'd imagined. Pristine beaches, swaying palms, the kind of postcard perfection I'd dreamed about for 3 years. Lauren's family had stayed here, posted hundreds of photos, while I sat abandoned in Denver. Now it was our turn. "Can we go to the beach right now?" Madison asked, practically vibrating with excitement. "Sunscreen first," Ryan said, ever the responsible parent. "Then beach." As Madison shrieked with delight in the waves, I sat on the sand and let the reality wash over me. I'd made it. Not how I'd planned, not when I'd planned, but I'd made it. My phone buzzed. Jake sending pictures from Texas. "Kids want to know if Madison likes the beach. Also, Amy's pregnant again, due in March." Another baby who would grow up in a healthy family. Another child who would never know the poisonous dynamics we'd survived. Aunt Rachel, come swim. Madison called and I couldn't resist. The water was perfect. Warm, clear healing. Madison showed me shells she'd found narrating elaborate stories about the creatures who'd lived in them. Her imagination had returned full force once the fear lifted. That evening we had dinner at the resort restaurant. The same one Lauren had posted photos from her smile sharp as she'd toasted leaving me behind. But those ghosts held no power here. Not with Madison giggling over her virgin piña colada, not with Ryan relaxed and laughing, not with our waiter congratulating us on having such a happy family. "We are happy," Madison announced matter-of-factly. "We choose to be happy." Out of the mouths of babes. The trip was everything a vacation should be. Relaxing fun, full of small adventures and lazy mornings. Madison tried snorkeling and declared herself a professional fish watcher. Ryan taught her to build elaborate sandcastles. I read 3 books and didn't apologize once for being antisocial. On our last night, we sat on the beach watching the sunset. Madison had finally crashed after a day of nonstop activity sleeping against Ryan's shoulder. "Thank you," he said quietly. "For this, for everything, for saving her." "We saved each other," I replied. "All 3 of us." The truth of it settled between us like the evening breeze. We'd each been drowning in different ways. Ryan in a custody battle he couldn't win, alone Madison in abuse, disguised as motherhood me, in a family system designed to destroy. But together, we'd built something new, something strong. "You know Lauren gets her first parole hearing in 6 years, Ryan said eventually. "She won't get it, not with her disciplinary record." Lauren had not adjusted well to prison-accumulating infractions for manipulation contraband and one spectacular attempt to forge legal documents. What if she does eventually? I looked at Madison, peaceful in sleep, butterfly clips in her hair. "Then we'll deal with it, together. With lawyers and restraining orders and whatever else it takes. She'll never touch Madison again." "Or you," Ryan added firmly. The flight home was bittersweet. Vacation was over, but real life had become something worth returning to. My apartment with its purple walls, my job where I was valued, Sunday dinners with chosen family, Madison school plays where I always had a front row seat. As we collected our luggage in Denver, I noticed a familiar figure by the exit. Stephanie holding a welcome home butterfly family sign decorated with Madison's artwork. "Surprise," she called. "Brittany's idea. She's in the car. We're taking you home in style." Madison ran to hug her, chattering about every detail of the trip. The family that had schemed to destroy me had been replaced by people who showed up with silly signs and genuine smiles. In the car, Brittany had news. "Grandma Eleanor's doing great. She wanted me to tell you she's proud of you for taking the Hawaii trip. Says it's the ultimate victory." It was. Not because I'd gotten some petty revenge, but because I'd refused to let trauma win. The same beach, the same hotel, but completely different meaning. What had been stolen had been reclaimed and transformed into something better. "Oh, and Lauren's prison blog got shut down," Stephanie added with barely concealed glee. "Turns out you can't run a wrongfully convicted mother's support group when you're on tape calling your kid a meal ticket." We all laughed. Not cruel laughter like the family gatherings of old, but the clean humor of people who'd survived something terrible together. Back at Ryan's house, Madison carefully unpacked her souvenirs. Shells, postcards, a ukulele. She definitely didn't know how to play. Each item was placed with reverence, physical proof of joy Lauren couldn't steal. "Aunt Rachel," Madison asked as I tucked her into bed, "can we go back next year?" "If you want to." "I do, but maybe somewhere new. Daddy says there are beaches all over the world." Somewhere new. What a perfect metaphor for our lives. As I drove back to my apartment, I thought about the note Lauren had left in that airport. "Babysitter, you'll have fun together." Mocking. Cruel. Certain I'd comply. She'd been right about one thing. Madison and I did have fun together. Just not the desperate, trapped kind Lauren had envisioned. Real fun. Chosen fun. Family fun. My phone lit up with our trip photos that Ryan had shared. Madison building sandcastles, the three of us at dinner, the sunset from our last night, normal vacation pictures that felt miraculous in their ordinariness. I'd been the abandoned one, the afterthought, the family scapegoat for 32 years. But sitting in my purple-walled apartment surrounded by evidence of love freely given and received, I realized the ultimate truth. They'd meant to break me by leaving me behind. Instead, they'd set me free. And in trying to use Madison as a weapon, they'd given us both the gift of finding real family. Lauren was in a cage she'd built herself, serving 37 years for crimes she'd documented with pride. Patricia was in minimum security, writing letters no one answered. The family that had found such joy in cruelty had scattered to the winds. But Madison was thriving. Ryan had found peace, and I'd discovered that the best revenge really was living well. Not to spite anyone, but simply because we deserved it. The last laugh wasn't cruel or calculated. It was Madison's giggle as she played in the waves, Ryan's easy smile over dinner, my own reflection in the mirror finally seeing someone worthy of love and respect. Lauren had thought she was the master manipulator documenting her victories in secret boxes, but the real victory was simpler. A 7-year-old girl who felt safe, a father who'd fought for his daughter, and an aunt who'd chosen protection over compliance. "When she comes back, I'll be the one laughing," Lauren had written in that airport note. But she'd never come back, not to the life she'd built on lies, not to the daughter she'd seen as property, not to the sister she'd tortured for sport. That life was gone, demolished by truth and justice and the simple act of one phone call to the right person. And we weren't laughing at her. We were just laughing, freely, openly, without calculation or cruelty. The way families were supposed to laugh, the way we'd learned to laugh once the shadow lifted. The butterflies had emerged from their chrysalises, and oh, how beautifully we'd learned to fly. Did you have a toxic family member who tried to sabotage your happiness? How did you break free and build your own chosen family? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else recognize they deserve better. If this story resonated with you, please consider giving it a like and subscribing for more content about overcoming family dysfunction and finding your own wings. Share this with anyone who needs to hear that blood doesn't always mean family, and that sometimes the best thing someone can do is leave you behind. Thank you for reading, and remember, you deserve a family that celebrates your victories, not one that schemes to steal them. Stay strong, butterflies.